Freedom is a lie, especially if you live in Scotland. Welcome to the country, folks. Today, the very thing that everyone else has been talking about, Count Dankula and the bullshit guilty verdict today. And I'm sure if you're on the internet, you know exactly what's been going on. You heard about it. Everyone's talking about it. But what surprised me the most, I'm going to say this before we get going on this. Hashtag Free Dankula was trending. Twitter took it down. It's no longer trending. And it was trending this morning. So let that sink in there.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that surprising to you?
It's not
in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's not surprising. It's Twitter.
Yeah, it's not surprising. It's just unfortunate. I mean, the very thing that we need to try and bring attention to this whole situation, no one's going to see. Like right now, I'm working on the thumbnail, and I'm going to post it later today. And if I use that hashtag, no one's going to see it. No one's going to know what I did. So, I mean, that in itself is curtailing of my ability to express myself. So.
Well, I will also share that same hashtag. I don't know what I'll post with it. I'll think of something. I'll think of something really stupid and piss-worthy. And everybody in chat, I suggest you try to restart up the Free Dankula hashtag.
I don't know if you can. I don't know how Twitter works with its bots and all that. But the other thing you can always do is maybe tweet out the last thing that Dankula said in his one interview after he came out. He said, "Don't let your means be dreams."
Yeah, I was actually there for the beginning of the Free Dankula hashtag this morning. I had unfortunately stayed up all night because I couldn't fucking sleep, and I was told that failure might bring us on to his show, but then that turned into a goddamn nightmare with that fucking alarm clock.
He fell asleep. That thing was going off for like hours.
He started a fucking cult in his chat with that fucking alarm clock for 2 hours. It was awful. But yeah, I was there when the news broke. I was one of the I was among the first, I would say, 100 to do the hashtag Free Dankula. I highly doubt I was the first to fucking do it. But I was there in the beginning of it. And then when I found out that it had fucking disappeared, I was just like, that's bullshit. But I had a contingency. I also added "We are Dankula" to my one of my tweets.
Good.
So hopefully that can still live and breathe. But
I doubt it at this point, but who knows, really.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're probably throttling it by term. Dankula probably won't show up in the trending tweets at all from this point.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. If I'm going to take a moment here and embrace the conspiracy theory here about globalists and all that other kinds of stuff, it stands to reason that maybe there's some credibility for that. What with the whole, like laws being passed, like in Canada, the pronoun law, which I think, if memory serves me correctly, I think there are some states in the States that have also passed similar laws about pronouns.
Kinda.
Which is scary.
It is actually. There are certain states in the states themselves that actually do have state laws and everything to allow certain rules to go around and be passed around and shit like that. Like for example, in California, you're not allowed to smoke indoors anywhere, or even at parks. But if you go over to Nevada, almost every single fucking building on the strip is, yeah, go ahead, smoke inside. We don't care.
Capitalism at its finest.
Right?
Yeah.
Regulate your own goddamn laws and shit. So it is terrifying to know that there are some states out there that do legitimately have those kinds of rules. Like, don't say these specific words. Oh, God, no. The tyranny. It's starting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Fuck. So is anything when I was listening to this, I heard that there might have been like a sentencing verdict later today, like around 2:00. But then I heard that was decided to go like in what, a month or so, or they decided to postpone on that.
Yeah, what happened was that Dankula had basically said that he was found guilty and that he would be sentenced soon. And when it got to the point of the sentencing, he went back into court and everything, and they said that they were going to delay it another fucking month. So he's officially guilty, but as to what his punishment is going to be is completely unknown right now, just because they want to milk the living shit out of everything that is going on with this right now.
Well, which is one of the dumbest things they can do at this point. I am 100% certain the judge is trying to make an example of Dankula. The way they're putting him off like this, the way they're clearly fucking around with him, they're making a martyr of him instead.
No, yeah, I completely
By
agree with
doing
that.
this, they are bringing him a hell of a lot more support than he would have had just on the basis of the charges being bullshit.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a martyr. I mean, hopefully this gets something going, but who knows? That also brings up the topic of like, what's the sentencing going to be? Like, what's he in for? And a lot of people are thinking like, well, they worry about jail time, and they're thinking, no, there's not going to be any jail time. How could there be? He's been unrestricted something or other. I can't remember, but I think it's like he can't leave the country. He can't be places here and there. I mean, he's essentially he until everything was sorted out, like with the case, he was limited to what he could do. And now, well, I mean, so they were saying that.
Trippy Poop's saying they'll probably give him time served.
Well, logically, yeah. I mean, but the concern is that if they're going to make an example out of you, they might try to give you the harshest thing they can. So the big concern is like normally time served, but now we're going to give you an extra 2 years or a year, because I think there's a limit to what you can do. So I mean, Marcus was bringing that up earlier. So
yeah, honestly, it doesn't really matter what the harsh punishment is or how light the punishment is. Even if he does get time served with a fine or he gets 2 years in prison, it honestly doesn't matter. The damage that was necessary for this to be a big fucking deal has been done. The damage has already been done. They basically said he is going to be punished for a fucking joke, and they don't give a shit about the context. In fact, the context has been basically thrown in the trash because it's unnecessary. Do you understand what this means? What?
Well, yeah. No, I was gonna ask, like, didn't somebody say earlier that he's like part Jewish or something like that?
No, I think that was a joke. He's not actually part Jewish. There was one of the people that were the biggest name in this whole thing that was pushing for his punishment is actually of Jewish descent. Yeah.
Yeah, the ramifications that come with a decision like this, setting precedent and shit like that. There's also the personal ramifications on him himself. Dankula will not be all that employable after this, regardless of the sentencing. He is guilty of a hate crime on paper.
I think he already said that he's been affected by this. Like anywhere he works, they recognize his face eventually, and then he ends up getting fired. I think he's been unemployed for a better part of a year. The only thing that brings in any money is the Patreon support, and even that might be at risk of getting taken down.
Oh yeah, they're going to do the same thing they did with Jordan Peterson. They're going to basically shut that shit down, and when he asks why, they're probably going to come up with some bullshit ass excuse.
Well, I'm just going to say, Count Dankula, feel free to come over here to America. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people who will hire you based on the fact that they think you might be a Nazi.
Count Dankula is a very entertaining guy. I could foresee him getting a job just working for, like, let's say, like InfoWars or something. He could actually, he could actually get a job as a comedian. And that lies the other aspect. I mean, there have been comedians who have made Nazi jokes and Nazi comedy skits and all that kind of stuff over the ages. I think there's even
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, and there's even some comedians who are probably making Nazi jokes right now. I mean, should they go to jail? Should they have like where's the limit?
Well, to play devil's advocate, they didn't go out of their way to teach their dog a Nazi phrase.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, like what he did
it's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Well, and you're right. I mean, you could say that because he's teaching him the words themselves, but really, like we boil it down to, all he taught his dog to do is shake a paw.
Yeah, and that's one of the most ridiculous parts of this whole thing. He taught obviously, what he did was teach the dog, hey, Zig Heil means raise your paw, and Gas the Jews means like walk or food or something, treat or something that would get the dog excited.
Yeah.
I think they're missing that in the fucking courts, and they think he taught this dog to be a Nazi.
I mean, he even said in the video, I'm going to turn the cutest thing into the least cute thing.
And he said at the end, I'm not a racist. I just wanted to piss her the fuck off.
He's very clear about the fact that it's a fucking joke and that he's not a fan of Nazis.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're looking at it as if he actually turned this fucking pug into a Nazi, rather than teaching it a couple simple commands. Maybe mean words.
I think like jokes on the internet is a great deal less impactful on, let's say, kids and youth and that kind of stuff than opposed to, let's say, a Disney movie. Like, remember The Lion King when the hyenas were walking in line and Scar was essentially Hitler? I mean, if you get the imagery, that's been impacting kids for a lot longer than a single joke. So
Shit, I remember that, and I'm still prepared.
Yeah, but remember, this is Disney. They're allowed to be the former Nazi fucking regime and shit like that because it's Disney. They do so much good for all the children. It doesn't matter that.
No, they have so much money.
All right, Trippy Poop brings up a good point. The judge who arrested this guy, convicted him. The guy named Derek O'Carroll. He's called a sheriff. I'm not sure why Scottish people call their judges sheriffs, but picture of him. He's wearing a fucking powdered wig. Did you guys know they still fucking do that over there?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that for fucking years.
I think it would make it really hard to take court seriously. I could be on fucking death row and I'd still be giggling at the douchebag in the fucking powdered wig.
Why do you think Americans make fun of fucking the UK's justice system so goddamn much? It starts with the powdered wigs, and then it turns into, well, I mean, your fucking judges are tyrants, so fuck it. I hate that goddamn dog.
Yeah, at this point, every aspect of their legal system is a fucking joke. They got cops without guns. They got fucking judges like this guy. The powdered wigs. The fuck else is there? They're just they're a parody of a real country.
What was the wasn't there like a fucking like a bunch of little girls or whatever were getting raped and the police had done nothing about it over there?
Because they can't find the people who did it. But they can find a goddamn Scottish asshole who's just making a few fucking bad jokes on YouTube.
I think there were like 4,000 missing girls in the UK, and about maybe like 10% of them, or probably even more than that, were actually found dead. So I mean, there's some real problems going on, but we're gonna sentence some guy who made a joke. We're gonna waste taxpayer dollars on this one guy. And to make matters worse, or at least creepier, at least in my eyes, is that when Dankula was arrested and the cops came over to do that, the news people were there. why on earth were the news people there to arrest when this guy was getting arrested?
Ooh, conspiracy theory time! They set this shit up because they just wanted a YouTuber.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, and that was probably it. They probably wanted a YouTuber. They needed someone to make an example of, and they got this guy because, like, why is the news people? Why are they there? That makes no sense. And yeah, the news people, the cops who were even arresting him. The cops are like, we're just here to do our job. But yeah, I mean, we don't know why we're here. We don't know why these people are here.
Well, yeah, you got to figure. Not all of these cops have got to agree with what they're doing. It's the higher levels of the legal system that are fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But this particular judge has a history of making very, very strange decisions.
I mean, so did Hitler. Half of the Nazi party, like, they may not have entirely understood or agreed with what they were doing, but it was the higher ups that were fucking off their rockers and doing strange and stupid and ridiculous shit.
Yeah, well, the higher ups were also like off the rockers, full of drugs and stuff because they had new age of medicine. They didn't realize that it was like bad kinds of medicine like cocaine and marijuana and LSD and all that. They thought it was like new and improved mind altering drugs that could improve your way of thinking. They partially right, I guess, but
it turned out to be cocaine, baby.
Cocaine. Nazis were fucked up. They were the original stoners. I mean, drugs. That's how you get Hitler. Drugs.
That's not the only way you get Hitler, but that is definitely one of the fastest ways you can get Hitler.
Yeah, the greatest anti-drug message would say Hitler. You're only partially wrong or partially right.
Greatest pro-smoking candidate, Adolf Hitler. He hated cigarettes. He hated tobacco. Smoke, kids. Don't be Hitler.
All right, see, fucking hell. Like, I was thinking of quitting smoking, but now I know I shouldn't. Like,
exactly.
Shit. That's my ultimate motivation to continue sucking down on these cigarettes because, hot damn, I would rather do that than want to immerse into Juden Ausrotten. I'm American. You can't fucking get mad at me for saying this shit. Cause fuck you, freedom of motherfucking speech, bitches. There's no hate behind my words. I am not trying to incite any kind of violence. So go fuck yourself and fucking let people make jokes and say what the fuck they want to say. For Christ's motherfucking sake, you stupid pansy ass cunts.
Ooh. I like Angry Kadun. I think you need to come on to my show some one of these days so we can talk about some other shit that'll make you angry.
Fucking Superman loses, okay? Goku beats Superman.
I already acknowledged that he lost because of that blow-up doll. Enough! Stop drilling it into my fucking brain.
God damn, we're still going back on to that. That blow-up doll really did in for you. I should know better than to ever look up inappropriate toys.
Brockus was only upset because he wants that blow-up doll. He's like, yeah, super. Oh, you're super duper Superman.
You bitch.
Anyway,
sorry.
You were mentioning before we started. You think this might have ramifications on Canada and the U.S.?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people don't really know this, but well, I wouldn't say a lot of people. Most of the people watching probably do actually know this story. But about a year and a half ago, I want to say it was sometime last year or the end of 2016, the UK was actually pressuring, or at least trying to pressure America into actually abolishing the freedom of speech law out here. The First Amendment. They were actually trying to get them to change it or at least get rid of it entirely. And I think this is the UK's big push into not only convincing Canada to back them up, but to continue to pressure America, the only fucking country in the goddamn world that still has the most solid fucking freedom of speech laws you can actually get, backed up by the Second Amendment, which is why anytime I hear somebody talking about the Second Amendment as well, I get pissed off. But this was UK's
I'm
fucking
just going
talking
to wait. Yeah, I think I need to point out to anybody in the UK who's like, no, well, yeah, like, why would you want to change your freedom of speech thing? Hey, guys, last time Britain tried to pressure America into anything, we fucking turned the Boston Harbor into a giant teacup.
Now, I would
You
say that
can't
was
tell Americans you have to do this, because then we get our fucking big dick flags flying. We fucking take our AK motherfucking 47s, because it's apparently the only gun that people think are dangerous and are used in all these shootings, blah, blah, blah. And we have fucking fly our fucking flag right from the barrel of that shit as a fucking eagle, a bald eagle goes flying and screeching over our heads, and we say, fuck you.
all of these bullshit stories are turning me into a conspiracy theorist. I swear to God. But like at the same time, I'm slowly becoming this overly paranoid American who actually believes that there is this massive conspiracy on America right now, and that we've been infiltrated by a bunch of fucking foreigners pretending to be American citizens, but they were actually born somewhere else. Like, I don't know, fuck it, UK, Russia, Canada, I don't care. But I'm like really starting to think like there's a bunch of people just trying to destroy this country from the inside out. And right now, it looks like they're succeeding. And the fucked up part is that most of my logical brain is saying, no, that's way too crazy. There's no possible way that there is a conspiracy on gun control and the gun laws and the Second Amendment specifically. And the AR-15 is constantly talked about when it comes to these subjects because that's the apparent weapon of fucking choice almost all the goddamn time in most of these deadly shootings and such, because let's face it, it is one of the cheapest rifles you can get. It holds one of the easiest and cheapest magazines you can actually get. That holds, what, 15 to 30 rounds, give or take, and it can be easily modded to be an automatic rifle. Just saying. There are things about this AR-15 that people are fucking ignoring. But, like, you know, it's really starting to sound good in my head now. That's the fucked up part. I don't like this.
No, I can totally understand. And a lot of people, when it comes to the gun control issue, because that's where you're leading this to, when it comes to the gun control issue in America, there are gun shows, like in the the Midwest or whatever, that you can just walk into and purchase a gun as long as you have the money. I've been to one before. I didn't purchase a gun, but I was young enough and I just picked one up off of there. They're not loaded when they're displayed, but I just picked one up off and nobody stopped me, nobody questioned me. And there's places like that. There are areas and shops and shows and stuff like that out there, that I think may need a little bit more regulation.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like, the problem, there's too many other fucking problems to look at. And the fact that we're allowed to talk about this right now, and guess what's not happening to you or me right now, Brockus, is we don't have people barging, knocking on our doors and telling us you're not allowed to say that.
Exactly.
And I'm talking about this shit in like all seriousness. Like, I'm not even fucking joking right now. I can say basically whatever the fuck I want to say, as long as it's not to incite harm. Like, that's the thing. We got a fucking Oompa Loompa as president right now. A fucking retarded Oompa Loompa as president. But I know that America is still fucking better than at least Scotland, because I could teach my dog. I taught my niece. I taught my little blonde-haired, blue-eyed, fucking glow-in-the-dark, white-ass niece to goose step.
It is impossible not to see.
That's probably a bad thing.
Black. It is. It's probably a bad thing, but it was fucking hilarious.
It was fucking hilarious. I taught her to do that because my big sister was like, gosh, she's the perfect little Aryan baby. I'm like, yes, she is. Let Auntie be a bad influence. So I was a bad influence. She was like 3 or 4 at the time. She only did it around the house. But still, I fucking did that shit. Guess what never happened? I never got shit for it. I never got in trouble for it because people understand it's a fucking joke. They know I'm not seriously teaching my little blonde-haired, blue-eyed, freaking Aryan 3-year-old niece to honestly be a Nazi because I think Nazis are trash.
And I would
things.
like to just reiterate the fact that you cannot teach a goddamn dog to be a Nazi.
You can't.
It's literally impossible. But 2 things I'm going to point out here. One, we have a super chat, Mr. LM002 for $5. Speaking of guns, you hear about YouTube's new policy on firearms? Y'all should put it up on the stream and read it out.
I have heard nothing about that. Samaj, you wanna find that for me?
Also, do your job. Do your job.
Oh yeah. But I also like to point out that the best way to know who's really being enslaved is to know who has all the freedoms and whatnot. And America seems to have a lot of freedoms. I tend to wonder, are you guys the ones running the show? I don't know. Maybe it's just my mind thinking in some conspiracy theory way, which tends to happen. It's not like I know anything about anything.
It's YouTube's new policy on firearms. The second thing I wanted to point out, that was a little hurtful. That is in unfair of retarded people. You shouldn't compare them to Trump like that. That's terrible.
Touche.
Yeah.
Retarded people have higher mental capability, obviously.
Trump is in a different bracket of his own. He's very, very, very stupid.
He's still not the worst you've had.
That's true. We've had worse presidents.
Worst you've had in my lifetime.
Are you referring
He's
to
still
Bush?
not- what's it?
I'm referring to Clinton and Bush.
Yeah. Those are the guys that made me want to fucking go back in the past and just, I don't know, stab
Wait,
some
which
people.
Bush?
Junior.
Because we had 2.
Yeah,
that's right.
within my lifetime. I'm
W.
a lot younger than you.
Yeah, he specifically means Junior. It was Clinton then Bush. That was the
Yeah, I
combo.
remember.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention.
As far as
Back then.
the whole sexual abuse shit with Trump, Clinton's got him beat there. And as far as being a fucking moron, Bush takes the cake.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part, though. Everybody's always throwing up their fucking hands in the air saying, like, look, Trump is a fucking sexual abuser. He's a piece of shit. He's a horrible person. And I'm like, are you forgetting what Clinton did numerous times and fucking never saw a court date because of, except for one, which was Monica Lewinsky, and that wasn't even sexual assault or abuse or anything like that. That was just him cheating on his wife with a few blowjobs.
The one thing that the reason why Clinton got impeached, and people keep forgetting, was because he fucking lied under oath.
Yeah. It was the same thing that happened with Nixon. He lied under oath, and then they found, Watergate. Ha ha!
I don't think Nixon was impeached, though, was he?
Yeah,
He wasn't impeached. He actually left before he could. He was about to be, but but Nixon he resigned before then.
All
Clinton,
right,
on the other hand, was impeached.
yeah, for a blowjob and a couple lies.
No, that's not fucking true. That's slander, you son of a bitch. Oh, wait, no, actually, that's in print. That's libel, you son of a bitch.
All right, so what do we got here?
Someone else is gonna have to read this. I have to run out and go get a coffee.
Also, he's dyslexic. He's just covering.
Yeah, you do not want me to read this. You do not.
All right, give me a second.
1 month after the mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, and 5 days before the planned March for Our Lives, the world's top video site has tightened its policy regarding firearms. Blah blah blah. YouTube will now prohibit several types of content, including videos that sell firearms. That's fair. Feature certain accessories. That's dumb. Or teach viewers how to manufacture their own guns. Probably also fair.
Video makers, the first and third.
Say that again.
I agree with the first and third. The first one is stupid. The third one is stupid. The second one, not so much. Oh, yeah. I mean, like it's stupid for actual channels to do that. Like, don't make a YouTube channel to sell your fucking firearms, and don't make a YouTube channel to show people how to make a makeshift gun. That's fucking bullshit. Except Slingshot channel does make fun stuff because it's literally just harmless, non-lethal potato shooters.
Well, yeah, if you want to make a fucking potato gun, that's one thing. If you're showing somebody how to make a handgun or something, then yeah, you're probably going to run into issues.
Yeah, potato gun, fine. Gun, bad.
Exactly, at the point where you can use it to murder somebody, and I'm sure you could use a potato gun to murder somebody, but the point where its primary use is to murder somebody, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be teaching people how to make their own at home.
Exactly.
You can use anybody to murder somebody. I could kill you with a spoon.
No, I mean, yeah, if you try hard enough.
Exactly.
You make anything a murder weapon. The reason guns get a bad rap is because they're very, very easy to turn into a murder weapon.
Mr. ML002 for $5 says, I posted the link to the actual YouTube policy. Check the chat. I'll post it again. Read their own words.
Even better.
Oh.
Samaj was walked away, so I had to take his job.
Yeah, so we'll have Samaj pull that up once he gets back. But yeah, from what I'm seeing here, it doesn't seem overly outrageous.
Hold on, I've got it right. I clicked on the link that he had posted.
Okay, there we go. You want to pull that up?
Yeah. You want me to share, or should I just read it?
Either or.
Okay, so policies on content featuring firearms. Certain kinds of content featuring firearms. Specifically, we don't allow content that intends to sell firearms or certain firearms accessories through direct sales, e.g., private sales by individuals, or links to sites that sell these items. These accessories include, but may not be limited to, accessories that enable a firearm to simulate automatic fire or convert a firearm to automatic fire, e.g., bump stocks, Gatling triggers, drop-in auto sears, conversion kits, and high-capacity magazines, i.e., magazines or belts carrying more than 30 rounds.
All right,
Provides
fair.
yeah.
You probably shouldn't be able to sell any of those things through YouTube. That seems fairly straightforward.
Also provides instructions on manufacturing a firearm, ammunition, high-capacity magazine, homemade silencers, suppressors, or certain firearm accessories, such as those listed above. This also includes instructions on how to convert a firearm to automatic or simulated automatic firing capabilities.
Again, pretty fair.
Mm-hmm.
Shows users how to install the above-mentioned accessories or modifications.
Yeah, I have no issue with any of this.
Yeah, this doesn't seem that bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that the last should be banned. Yeah, it seems kind of dumb if you're buying these things legally. Wait, actually, I'm not sure. Are any of those things legal?
I think in America some of them are.
Okay, then yeah, if you're buying it legally, I have no issue with you being shown how to set it up. But how to manufacture it or directly trying to sell it, yeah, I've got no fucking issue with that.
Yeah, honestly, YouTube, if you're going to sell anything on YouTube, sell characters, sell personalities, sell your merch from your merch store.
Sell your fucking cleavage. Sell titty pics.
Exactly.
Don't sell fucking guns or drugs.
That's fucking bullshit because, like, there are so many goddamn kids that go onto YouTube and will disable the fucking restriction just to watch fucked up ass videos and shit. For God's sakes, look at Onision's fan base. Look at Jake Paul's fan base. None of those kids have either like touched a boob or a dick or whatever. Like, most of them are just a bunch of fucking prepubescent or just after pubescent fucking kids. It's mostly kids watching their fucking shit, and they're two of the biggest names on YouTube. So yeah, I kind of want kids to stay away from fucking guns for a while. Like, if their parents want to teach them gun control and shit like that, that's fine. Buying them a gun, fuck that. Wait until they're adults, goddammit.
Well, see, it's not even the kids that bother me. It's if you're trying to sell this shit online, you're not going through the proper channels.
Yeah.
And if you're showing somebody how to make these things themselves, they're not going through the proper channels. It's a way of bypassing the restrictions that are in place.
Yeah.
And I would have the same problem if there were people making fucking YouTube channel episodes and shit like that to basically show people how to create your own homemade bomb. That's a terrible idea. Don't allow that.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure the bomb thing has been frowned upon for a long time.
I think one of the very first documents ever, I think one of the earliest documents ever shared on the internet was the Anarchist Cookbook. And, I mean, you could argue that did a lot more damage than most of the stuff you see right now.
AP's in the chat cracking me the fuck up with his goddamn jokes.
AP, stop memeing. You're making him laugh too hard. He already almost died.
Chat,
yeah.
Mr. LM002, $10. The problem is the way that the policy is phrased. It can be used to ban any firearm video, even if everything in the video is completely legal in their country. I'm against the banning of legal things.
That I actually will agree with. If they're cracking down on any video at all that has to do with talking about firearms, or even basically like, gun safety, whatever the case it is, then yeah, that's fucked up. Also, there are plenty of videos, and Magog featured a couple of them in his very first video ever, where there are people that actually show you how the guns work, like load it up, and this is how it fires, and this is the kind of damage it does, shit like that. Again, I don't see a problem with having videos up like that. So if they're going to take those types of videos down, that's when I do have a problem, because it's like, no, a lot of kids learn how to do things on YouTube, and honestly, they should know that this is a very dangerous weapon, and this is the kind of damage it can do. So I do think that is at least educational. Selling it, fuck you. No selling guns on YouTube.
Well, yeah. I'd rather you not be having that easy access to firearms.
Yeah, but AP apparently can make a shotgun with a piece of wood. Now I want to see him do it.
Yeah, that makes me a little moist. Just saying, like, it's a shotgun. I miss my 12 gauge. Oh.
Also, I'm going to make a lot of fucking pop culture references in this goddamn stream, most likely, because I've been triggered with at least one quote, and I'm not going to be able to help myself. And I kind of wish AP or fucking Magog was actually in the chat with us so they would get the jokes.
Aw, too bad.
That's okay. Next time.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
But I understand what Mr. LM is talking about, but I also understand that, like, when it comes to kids learning how to do that kind of shit, see, AP's there. Hi, AP. When it comes to kids learning how to do this shit on YouTube, like the kids that wind up seriously searching this shit up and looking for this kind of stuff, like that's a sign of other things that you need to be aware of. It's not necessarily like you can't have that kind of content on YouTube because a kid may accidentally look it up and try and do it. No, if you're looking it up, you have some form of intent.
Well, to an extent. I mean, in some cases, I wouldn't fault some kids out of curiosity to getting to or wanting to know something about that, because Lord knows you can get into a debate with like your friends or whatever saying, I think Optimus Prime's gun can stop Megatrons, and then you might actually be curious about guns at that point, which it actually did happen to some kids. But then again, I remember their parents were actually gun enthusiasts, and I remember one kid's father was actually owning a gun shop, so he actually had a book on guns. I think it was called like the Gun Bible. I don't know. He was like, yeah, let's look this thing that Megatron's based off of. It's like, oh, would you look at that? It's so and so, and they learned a little bit of history.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to omit something. There is nuance to gun knowledge and videos like that and such like that. So it just depends on the content, I suppose. At this point, again, vehemently against fucking trying to sell guns to anyone through YouTube. That's a terrible idea. If you want to link the shit out of that fucking video with a bunch of different sites where you can actually sell guns through legal means and everything like that, that by all means go right ahead. But not in the same fashion of like, hey, I'll sell you this gun for $50. That's fucked up. That's just as bad as going to fucking some seedy ass city and going up to a guy with a fucking open trunk and be like, hey man, you got one of them pistols on you? Oh yeah, of course. Like, fucking $75, whatever, shit like that. I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with selling fucking guns on YouTube.
$75 for a gun? Is that all it costs?
Well, I mean, I was referencing old ass movies I saw.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You could definitely get guns for that kind of price in certain places. I'm just gonna say.
You have to understand, me and Schmeckel come from Canada, and guns are like
that's
unicorns.
ridiculous. For less than $100, I could murder somebody.
Well, for a standard 9mm here in the southwest of America, you could probably get just a shitty ass run of the mill basic 9mm Beretta for like $100, probably. But that's like through illegal means, obviously.
Okay, so I'd have to break a couple laws to get it that cheap.
Pretty much, yeah. Obviously, the guy probably got it through illegal means and is selling it through illegal means.
So what are you looking at low end for a legal gun?
Legal gun? Let's see. Your actual fees are going to run you well over $100 just to actually get the licenses and proper training with the classes and such. But an actual gun, like an actual pistol that you could get, like a nice 1911, it depends on where you're getting it from, but you could probably get one for about $125 if you go to a nice place that's doing a discount or something.
Man, I'm not risking. I'm not risking the fucking legal repercussions of getting caught buying an illegal gun for $50 in savings.
Oh no, you could probably get a small like 22 for I don't know, maybe like $50 in certain places. It's getting the licensing. That's the thing that's really gonna cost you. Buying the actual gun, like I actually got my 12 gauge for $40.
Okay, so what's the licensing and all that cost? Because I guess you can roll that in as part of the cost of your first gun.
Well, truthfully, it does depend on what state you're in. Certain states, like in California, the actual licensing can be pretty damn pricey.
Oh yeah, California's really strict about that shit.
Yeah, and it's actually, I think it's a little longer than most states. Like if you go to Texas and you actually put in to try to get a gun and all that stuff, to have everything approved, the background check and all that stuff, that'll probably be a week, 2 weeks, roughly. But here in California, I think at the minimum, it's like a 3-week long wait. And then after you have been approved to be able to purchase a gun, you of course have to get the license. You have to get proper classes and schooling to basically allow you to actually, prove that you can use a gun legally, that you know what you're doing, stuff like that.
Give me the dollar amount.
Let's see.
Schmeckel, if we do an actual like gun-related stream, which we could, you and I both know the right guy to bring on.
Yeah, Sinatra.
Oh, well, I was going to say running guns, but hey, I mean, you can do that too.
I knew exactly who you were going with. I just I didn't want to take your thunder. Yeah, Ron surprisingly does not actually know a whole lot about guns. Well, we tried to speak with him about guns a lot in the early days of the gun stream, but he's a gun enthusiast, not a gun expert.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would say I'm more of a gun enthusiast more than anything. I don't think I'll ever be able to actually own a gun. Security guard permit for a firearm is $120, and that's just to be able to actually fucking have one as a security guard and carry it around. Wrong list here. Because it's showing me that the California handgun safety certificate is $25 on its own.
That's just the safety certificate. That's to pay to take the safety courses.
Yeah, okay. It's about $140 for the license for the license and all the other shit.
Sounds like it's worse than trying to get your driver's license.
It can be.
It should be.
Yeah, and then there's a renewal fee of $70 for every 5 years.
Okay, $75. Don't even need to count that really. So we're looking at first gun, like rough estimate. You go through everything legally.
$165 just for the licensing and class and shit alone
in
California.
And then say another $125 for the gun itself, right?
Well, I actually am showing that there's a sale on a specific website called Firearms and Guns.
Ooh.
You can actually get a Taurus Millennium G2 pistol for $100. So yeah, it does depend on where you go to get the gun itself. But yeah, so the lowest price you'll probably find like a handgun would be around $100.
We have a $5 super chat. Someone can please read that.
Read the chat, you morons.
Mr. LM002 for $5. Read the chat. Oh, god damn it.
We're discussing all the specifics about guns in the States. If you want a YouTuber who knows about guns, get Sinatra.
Oh.
Ooh, you're getting better at this.
Sinatra knows a lot of shit about guns. I'm not sure how available he'll be at the moment. He was part of the 24-hour live stream. He's probably sleeping that off.
No, he just tweeted out on Twitter, but everybody from the 24-hour streams are pretty much trying to wind down right now. So
I would imagine.
Except for Failure, who fell asleep and had his alarm going.
And now
the alarm no state.
Yeah, now there's a cult on the alarm no state.
American Phoenix, I understand Taurus guns are garbage, which is probably why they are $100. But I'm just saying, to get a cheap handgun, blah blah blah. And I do apologize for everybody for segueing from talking about freedom of speech into the Second Amendment here in America. I cannot talk about one without bringing up the other. They go together so much that it is difficult for me to actually discuss one without at least bringing up the other one. And that is because one exists only to protect the other. It's as simple as that.
American Phoenix for $2. Guns are kind of my thing.
Yeah, he was actually he was on Love Your Monday briefly because he was really pissed off about something in Battlefield Las Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, American Phoenix, pretty knows a lot about guns and everything. I think I would prefer Sinatra because the dude has done so much fucking research on gun control and gun laws and guns themselves from coast to coast that it would probably be a little better to have Sinatra on for something like that. But I do think American Phoenix would be a good second voice, like a second opinion on guns.
My internet cut out there. Did someone read that super chat?
Yeah, the $2 one.
Oh.
Every time, like you get louder with them.
Sort of. I'm drinking coffee. It's making me more energetic.
Keeping you up.
It's a bad idea.
Raucous, go kill that goddamn dog.
It's not even just the dogs. Like the windows in my fucking house are so garbage. It hurts.
God damn it, Brockus. You're this is why. There we go. Okay. Anyway.
Massive.
But the big thing is, Brockus does have a bit of a point when it comes to talking about freedom of speech. it's kind of hard not to bring up the Second Amendment. America's the only place that I know of where we have an amendment like that, where the government allows itself to be feared and run by the people, because we have that right to be like, well, if we want, we can form our own goddamn militias and take over the government if they're starting to get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
And if, hi Kira, but if the government starts trying to say you're not allowed to say these things, like you have to call a trans person a they instead of a he or a she, pronouns, and blah blah blah. Fuck you. No, in America, I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want to say, as long as I am not trying to incite violence towards a person or entity or whatever.
Well, and we know how this all kind of came about. They tend to use the phrase of like kindness and respect to say that, hey, yeah, you should probably be, not be an ass and be respectful for people. And they use that as the weasel words to get into the laws and pass these things. It happens in the fandoms as well, like with video games and all that stuff. I mean, it's been an ongoing dilemma.
I mean, and okay, be a nice person. I get it. Like you don't fucking go and try and make laws to force people from making jokes, which it's a fucking joke. It's a dog. It's a teeny tiny little dog. Who cares? Guess what? It now knows how to, raise its paw and beg and do like cute little tricks and shit. And just come over to America. We have a fucking, stupid ass, retarded fucking douche who doesn't know shit about how to fucking run a country except for maybe reading a few cue cards, and he's a fucking ignorant asshole dickhead who makes Andy Worski look like a fucking Gwyneth Paltrow because he's so sensitive. Andy Worski looks sensitive in comparison to Trump because Trump based his whole fucking presidency on, guess what? I'm gonna be a douche. I'm gonna talk about my fucking freedom of speech and I'm gonna use it. And we have that shit in our fucking country, but we're still better than Scotland.
Yeah. Well, he's still better for now. I mean, who knows what will happen if this shit keeps going. People have been warning about the universities for quite a long time, and indoctrinating people.
Geez.
And I know it's a never-ending cycle. Oh, hey, it's Ian.
Ian.
Hey, how's it going?
What of you, sexy bitch?
Not
All
much.
right. Well, I'm sure you know what's been
Hello,
going
chicken
on.
flavored rice.
Oh yeah, I do know what's going on. Multiple things. What's his name? Michael Flynn, right? The Michael Flynn Jr. He put up a poll, and it says, "Do you think there's more than one bomber in Austin?" For your information, there's no commonality in the bombs, and you can vote yes or no. Now try voting on yes on his poll and see what happens on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah. Very fascinating thing happens. Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull him up.
Yeah, let's see this.
Let's perform an experiment.
Yeah, do it live. Yeah, show it on stream. See what happens.
All right, who is this again? Let me look him up.
M. Flynn Jr. Flynn Jr. It's Michael Flynn's son.
M. Flynn
Jr. You can also check my Twitter account. Yeah, you can also check my Twitter account. Yeah, and I link to it.
The ones with the American flags on either side of the name?
Yeah, him.
Okay. Do you think there's more than one bomber in Austin? FYI, there's no commonality in the bombs.
All right, here, pull this up so we can.
Oh my god!
Yeah, pull it up. Yeah, pull it up. See what happens.
One second.
There we go. I got it.
I legit just voted, and
I'm fucking shocked.
All right, let's
Alright.
do this.
Yeah, you do
All
it.
right, ready?
Get done. Yep, do it. No, that's a new one.
That's a new one?
Yeah, that's a new one. That's a new one. That one's fine. That one's fine. That one is fine. Like that one's not broken.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, click on that. Yeah, right.
Oh.
See what happens. See?
Oh! Oh!
Jesus Christ.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, because there's no bias there at all, is there?
It's the reason why he made a second poll.
You can't be that fucking blatant about it. At least try and make it look like they accidentally voted for the wrong one or something. But this clearly says you voted yes. 0%.
This is what they always do. Whenever there's a popular poll and it's making the waves, Twitter will alter it. Sometimes, they'll ask, like, do you think we should repeal the Second Amendment? And, for a while, it looks like, okay, there's like a 60% saying no, 40% saying yes.
Samaj, can you reproduce this for us?
That's what I'm trying to think. Was this it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, click on yes. Yeah.
All right. Am I presented? Okay, great. All right. We're going to hit yes.
Yep.
All right. And vote. Holy bloody hell. Would you look at that?
Ian, you're not helping my goddamn conspiracy theorist paranoid ass mind right now. This
This is
not
not
helping.
the first time it's happened. Yeah, it's not the first time it's happened. All happens with popular polls, and usually they're a lot more discreet about it. They'll add like 1,000 extra votes, to make it say no. It's very, very blatant. Very blatant.
Your one vote is like an additional 25 votes for the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
But not this time.
Oh boy.
Someone messed it up. Someone at Twitter HQ was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna alter this little vote, make sure that no always wins." And oops, I guess I forgot to put a decimal point or something. And yeah, this happens.
Okay, well then.
Yep.
That's
Your
a-
vote is equal to perhaps 0.00001%, which is why it shows up as 0.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Well, conspiracy is what I'd say. Well, maybe it's conspiracy. I don't know.
It's big data. It's big data. They always do shit like this. It's Michael Flynn's
Congratulations.
son.
I just.
If you don't know who Michael Flynn is, it's he used to be part of the Trump administration. He was done dirty, man. Like the liberals, they screwed him. He's a patriot, and they really fucked him. Now he's having to mortgage his house to pay for legal fees. It's really unjust.
Speaking of legal fees and legal shit, how you feeling about this Count Dankula shit, Ian?
Not good. I'm not feeling good about it at all. I am feeling heartened that Ricky Gervais and a few other comedians are speaking up on behalf of him, because this is the death of comedy, right?
Oh,
and
this
it's the
type
death
of
of free speech.
it threatens their careers 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just their careers. I mean, I have always believed, and I told Ricky this, I've always believed that comedians are the first and last defense for free speech. They're the first people to speak out against tyranny and oppression, and they're also the last. So
Hey, Ian,
the instant they go down, that's it.
Ian, do you know much about history?
Absolutely.
Okay, could you tell us who the first person, or at least what the first person was that was killed in Stalin's communist regime?
It was a clown.
Exactly.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yes, it was a clown who was actually mocking Stalin and the communist regime.
That's absolutely right.
This is how it always goes. As they pointed out on the Kumite this morning, comedy is always the first to die when shit like this goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. If you want to be the all-powerful leader with nobody questioning you, you can't have like Saturday Night Live making fun of you every night, right?
Correct. Did you know that the Nazis went after a Finnish comedian who made his dog do the Zig Heil?
Really?
That sounds like a really familiar story for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I didn't know Dankula was Finnish.
Close enough.
History repeats itself. As I say, as Tonka said to me, history is doomed to repeat itself. When people just don't pay attention to it.
Oh yeah.
Mm. Well, and people need to fight back and deal with this. Yeah. Well, some people get headway and then they don't. And
The type of thing this is, the type of attention it's been drawing. Dankula is going to have a lot of support.
Yes, fortunately, and unfortunately for society, his is the only story that's being told, and I understand why, and I support that. That's fine. But up to 9 people per day go to jail for the same thing that he does every single day in the UK. Right? They get arrested because they make jokes, comments on Facebook. They make fun of the police. They make fun of the government. They criticize the immigration policies. They go to jail for it, and no one hears from them because they don't have the same clout he does. And I'm glad that people are picking up his story. At least his story is being told, and perhaps it can be used as a foundation to help these other people, because many people are facing the same injustice that he is facing, and they do not get any sort of airtime.
Yeah, and there was that story from last year of that other Scottish guy that actually got arrested for a fucking tweet. And instead of actually doing the right thing and calling his family, specifically his son, that what was going on, why he wasn't home and all that stuff, they just said that they were going to fucking ignore it. Like, literally, they just ignored even informing his family about what had happened. And his son panicked for like an entire fucking day because he didn't know where his dad was. He thought his dad was dead in a fucking ditch or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an unusual practice. It's been that's been going on for a while. Like, my brother was arrested, and we didn't hear anything about it for like a week. We tried calling in like the police stations and whatever. Rockus, what the fuck's going on your end?
I have somebody who's playing around with their phone and is making noises.
Okay, but I mean, my brother was arrested and it wasn't until like a week until we were able to find out that he was in jail. So he'd been arrested. So it's not unusual that kind of stuff's been happening. I think it's a dick move. You really should notify the family.
So what's this you got pulled up?
This was a while ago. I think this was like back in 2014, maybe. This was the Jim Norton debate with Lindy West, and she worked at, I believe, Jezebel, a feminist left-leaning place, and they were criticizing comedians that was making, let's say, like rape jokes and potentially like Nazi jokes as well. And they were saying how comedians shouldn't be making these kinds of jokes. And I think Jim was making like some great examples and making some good points, mostly talking about how when it comes to comedy, either everything's okay or nothing's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start leaning down to the idea of like, hey, it's okay to criticize or censor comedians, what's to stop someone from, let's say, going into an art gallery and then taking a towel and putting it over top of a painting because it offends them? I mean, or someone going up to a movie theater and putting up like cloth in front of the screen so that no one could watch it because it offends them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a reasonable argument to say that just because you're offended that you should then stop people from expressing themselves.
This is what happens in progressive societies as well as third world societies.
Yeah,
I mean, calling it progressive though is incorrect, I think.
I think we can call it progressive at this point. That's the label they've chosen to adopt, and we can use that word in a sneering fashion. Let them keep the word. Let them keep the word. It's a dirty word. It's a dirty word, and let them keep it. Because there's no point in reclaiming progressive. We, on the center and the conservative side, or even on the liberal side, right, the center left, have never claimed to be progressive. So it's a bad word. It's a communist. Look at the word communist. It's the idea of communal togetherness. but is it a good word? No, it's not. Let them keep it. Let them keep the 110 million dead people, the people they murdered. Let them keep it. It's fine.
Or we can take it back from them and show them what progression looks like instead of regressing just on the opposite spectrum of things.
Well, a lot of them seem to think that it's progressive to address certain, let's say, inequalities in society, which I think is what they think is going on. I mean, the part of this that's really the worst is that these people actually think they're doing something good. They think they're actually doing something to help society and help things move in a way that would, be better and beneficial for everyone. And if you've actually convinced someone that they're doing the right thing, that's the scariest thing of all, because they think they're in the right when they do it. They think
I don't actually think that they're in the right when they do it. They're doing it because it's an excuse to control and manipulate other people. It's a semantic trick, right? It's saying I'm one of the good guys. I can do no wrong. That's exactly what they're doing. They know they're being authoritarian and they like it. They like being in positions of power. They like claiming to be the underdog, claiming that they are the oppressed, because they know it affords them a certain degree of authority over other people. It allows them to play the victim card and say, hey, look at me. I'm a victim. Pay attention to me. It gives them credence that they do not really deserve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. At the end of the day, it's really control that they're trying to implement. I don't know. Like, I think people who are aware that that's what's going on, I think they're the ones who are doing the manipulating and doing all that kind of stuff. Because I don't actually think that. I do disagree with you in the sense I don't think that they're all planning it. I don't think they're all in on the joke. I do think there are some useful idiots out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and like the main reason I think that is because I like in my neck of the woods, because I come from hail from the north, the sunny ways in Canada. You can't walk out of your house and not encounter someone who is an SJW. All right, and some of the people I would call friends definitely are, and when I'm around them, I'm walking on eggshells to make sure I don't say anything remotely offensive on that kind of stuff. But I've known these people for a long time, even before they were feminists and social justice warriors and all that. And I don't think that they think that they're doing controls. They're the same people they've always been, but now they have a little bit more of a leaning to them. I don't see them as bad people though, and I have a hard time convincing myself that this person I've known for all these years is wrong or is manipulating or actually trying to exempt control. Granted, without realizing it or that they actually are.
I think that being a good person or a bad person sort of depends on your actions. You can claim to be a good person. You can claim to have good motivations. You can claim to want the best for everyone. But the instant you pick up a knife or a gun and you kill someone in the name of goodness, you're a bad person.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment.
It depends what goodness is.
Yeah,
there are certainly legitimate reasons to kill a person.
Absolutely. If you're a cop, then you want to kill someone before he hurts other people. Let's say he's a mass shooter. Sure.
Exactly. But when goodness for you is, say, Allah said to do it, so it's good and I'll go to heaven.
Yeah, well, there again, I mean, like for example, like Christians or Jews. I mean, they're very good people, depending on who it is you're talking to, but they still circumcise their children. Now, if you look on any of the research in circumcision, you would say that, that's not goodness in any particular reasonable way, but they still do it anyway, and they think they're doing it for the greater good. When it comes to the family,
with circumcision for religious reasons. They started attaching the supposed medical benefits afterwards. That was an excuse afterwards. Before that, it was just God said cut off part of the dick.
Well, also I think Dr. Kellogg's played a factor in that as well with his bizarre pseudoscience.
He helped popularize it, basically across the board. But Yeah, the Jews and Christians have been doing this, mainly the Jews, for a long time.
Mhm.
Do Muslims do it too? I feel like
No,
Yes.
they wait, but that's just the female genital mutilation. It's
No,
not the...
Muslims also circumcise their boys.
Oh, did not know that. I always thought it was just the females.
No,
like,
Well,
no, they do to everyone.
we get triggered by the sense of like girls losing their clitorises because that's, I mean, we morally think of that as bad. We don't think the same thing with boys. Even though
I certainly do.
Now I do, yeah.
well, yeah, we have research that shows like the nerve endings for in the foreskin are about the same as within a girl's clitoris. So from that perspective, we can say morally, yeah, that's not a good idea to cut it off, especially if it's for something that's religious, because for all you know, the kid will grow up and he could be of a different faith or no faith whatsoever, but now he has to live with this for the rest of their life.
Real quick, we have a $2 super chat from Mr. LM002. Opal is here. Maybe y'all should give her the link.
Opal, you can have the link. It's been a long time since I've booted you.
I'm going to
give it
go out of my way and say that circumcision for boys isn't all that bad.
Do your job, Samaj.
No, I don't think it's necessarily all that harmful.
It's not. It really isn't. I mean, people make it into this big deal when they talk about men's rights and how boys are being abused or whatever. But I think it really detracts from the actual issues that men face, such as male suicide, such as the fact that men are discriminated against in a variety of ways, especially in courts.
Well,
right?
it is definitely a violation of your right to bodily autonomy, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I will not disagree with that. I just don't think it's as big a deal as people make it out to be, and I think it really hurts the conversation when you're talking about adults having their agency taken away from them. When you're talking about discrimination, actual discrimination, I don't think that circumcision is really an issue people should bring up as much as they do, because it makes other people just sort of zone out.
It's something that should definitely be a topic of conversation, because it is wrong.
It is an issue too. Remember, there was a herpes epidemic because...
One second, Opal. But if you lump it in with the other things, it definitely does make them look bad by being lumped in with something less serious.
Yes, exactly. And I like focusing on the important issues, the issues that you can actually win. You have to take it one step at a time. You can't say here's a billion issues that I have with so and so thing, and like if 50% of them are petty, most people will just zone out on the other 50% of the issues.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it petty. It's just bottom of the list compared to a lot of other things.
Right.
Well, 1 second, I need to do my job.
Ew.
Yeah.
Opal, you were going to mention the moils. Go ahead.
Yeah, remember there was a herpes outbreak on baby genitalia because Jewish rabbis, when they circumcised the babies, they put their mouth on the babies to suck the blood off when they circumcised.
To be fair, though, I mean that's not all the rabbis. I mean, some of them do it, some don't do that.
It's a very orthodox thing. It's an orthodox thing, and that's what's like a specific rabbi
at the time.
It's a specific sect of Judaism, and it is the traditional way for them to do it. That's their excuse. It's how they get away with it. It's not something that should be allowed, and you'd think that it's not something that would be allowed because
it's weird.
The fact that it is allowed means either nobody's complained about it, or at some point it was put in front of a fucking courtroom full of people or whoever it is that makes these decisions, and they went, baby dick in the mouth, acceptable.
Well, I think there's also that's sort of a side effect of religious freedom. Like when you have it in a particular
religious freedom has limits, and those limits should definitely include sucking on a baby cock.
Yes, it does, but who knows how long this has been going on, and they just it's been sort of like swept under the rug. I don't know. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that there is a potential that maybe it was people just sort of turn the other eye or the other cheek, just thinking, well, it's a religious thing, whatever.
None of us are Jewish, though. We don't really have any knowledge.
I mean, I know it does happen. You get Sweden with letting the Muslims keep the child brides and shit like that. There is definitely turning the blind eye because it's
Tradition.
cultural tradition.
Religious tradition. Yeah.
We openly mock Sweden at this point because they are so fucking cowed by their fucking visitors, let's say, that they allow this shit. It seems pretty fucking mockable that the States and I assume Canada allow people to suck baby dick just because they're fucking Jewish.
Fuck the tradition.
Yeah, no, fuck tradition. When it comes to that kind of shit, like learn to move forward from such traditions. Do we still fucking slice sheep's throats open to sacrifice to the gods? No.
Well,
No,
yes.
we don't fucking
Yes.
do that shit.
Yes, yes, we do. We do. We do. In Islam, they well, not necessarily Islam, but certain parts of the world that are Muslim, they do slice open animals' throats to not as a sacrifice to the god, but as a celebration of just events. And I mean, besides that, you know how halal food is cooked. That's what they do to slice their necks open.
With kosher, they cut through the throat and bleed out.
Yep.
Yeah. That seems so sad, though. I mean, I know you could never completely humanely kill an animal, but that just watching them slowly die in pain, that just seems sad.
I have no real issue with it because I don't care too much about how something is killed.
Just instantly kill it.
It's the last moments of their lives. I'm not fond of unnecessary pain, but at the same time, they ain't gonna remember it in a couple minutes.
I'm just saying, like, there's traditions that you have to learn to move away from, because don't suck on a baby's dick.
Yeah, I feel like that should just be a basic rule. I'm pretty sure it is a basic rule.
I really never thought that
coded
needed
into
to
our
be
laws.
said. I really never thought that needed to be said in life.
American Phoenix for $5. The only good thing Sweden ever had was the volleyball team, and my girl is hotter than they are, so Sweden can go to hell.
Oh no!
Well, I mean, some of the Sweden girls, like the malls and stuff, they're pretty fucking hot. Just saying.
It's been 10 years, Smudge. You wouldn't know what hot is anymore.
I watch.
Wormhole.
Look, I watch way too much porn. I have an idea. I have a range, but I don't think it's a realistic one.
Oh look, a wormhole, guys.
Oh, look, a Magog.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, back to circumcision. I
Magogson.
don't know. It just seems cosmetic. Unless a doctor tells you need to do it for your baby. I mean, it just kind of seems cosmetic.
Yeah,
Well,
but even if you do get it done, like no matter what, you don't suck the dick of the baby.
Please don't do that.
Well,
please.
I mean, yeah, it's also like I mentioned this once before on a couple different streams. A lot of people do it, even if you're secular. Some mothers in particular will do it because it's a fashionable thing to do. Like when my mom had my two.
Gonna see it? Why is your mother concerned about what it looks like?
Well, because mothers get talking, and then it's a topic that it gets brought up, and then they just sort of do it. It's just sort of a thing that happens. It's a cultural kind of thing. It's also a side effect of like, my mom has been a single mother with pretty much all four of us. So I mean, each time she would just talk with her girlfriends, and it just sort of gets brought up there. And we were, of course, we were already secular, but she still did it anyways, and it's because it was a fashion thing, really.
Well,
And it was actually
kids aren't fashion accessories, though. I have an issue with that.
yeah, but I mean, culture is
The idea
is
is that if you have a uncircumcised dick, then girls are not going to look at you the same way as they would look at an uncircumcised
then
boy.
my son doesn't need to be with a shallow bitch.
Well, also, I mean, yeah, exactly.
I mean, attitudes are changing now.
I think that both looks are perfectly fine. One's cute, has a little sweater, and then one's looks like a little
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna say that, like, a circumcised is prettier to stare at, but it doesn't matter because if it's going in my mouth or my twat, like I don't need to worry about what it looks like.
Okay, so here's the thing: circumcised dicks are cleaner than uncircumcised ones majority of the time.
Don't clean your goddamn dick.
I know, and many men don't. That's a thing. That's a thing, and many men allow the smegma to accumulate beneath their foreskins.
I was talking about that before.
I clean my shit every goddamn day, but we got a super chat.
Anybody in the audience, if you're not snipped, I'm not snipped. Remember, while you're cleaning your cock, pull the fucking skin back.
Yeah. American Phoenix for
clean the outside and assume that you got everything.
Don't assume.
American Phoenix for $5. Opal, I have killed animals with gun, club, boot, and blade. Do you think I'm cruel? I am a hunter and I eat what I kill. Do you think I'm wrong?
No. Like as long as you're like trying to like kill it fast and you use as much as of the animal as possible. That's not cruel. I'm just saying don't like let it suffer for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Sorry. I gotta interrupt Opal, which is actually really fun to do. Ian, I know you're a fan of Jordan Peterson, right?
Yes.
Clean your room is much less important than clean your cock.
I think that one or the other, you have to do it, right? And one leads to the other. So if you clean your room often, then you will probably practice good hygiene. That's the whole idea behind cleaning your room.
Clean your room, guys. Clean your fucking cocks.
Please do, even if you're circumcised. As a lady, it's just very nice. Hygiene is very nice.
Hygiene. Okay, so cleanliness is next to godliness. I've always believed that. And if you're filthy, then you're literally Hitler.
Oh, super duper chat from Mr. LM002 for $30. Brockus, do your job.
Child genital mutilation should be banned. Both natural men and women produce smegma. Sadly, most parents in the U.S. should rather cut off a very important part of their son's penis than teach them how to wash their junk. Seriously, wash your shit!
That's one of the biggest issues with the fucking argument. It's more hygienic. Yeah, it's more hygienic when your kid is a little child and you need to clean their dick. So don't be fucking lazy. Don't decide, hey, you know what? It's easier to clean the dick if I slice off part of the kid's cock. So I'm going to slice off part of the kid's cock.
I think that that Ian was right in the sense that there are some issues out there that are slightly more important than this. But I don't know. I wouldn't discredit it all together. But I do think that it is more reasonable to look at some other issues out there and get them addressed because they are easier to get addressed than the whole circumcision thing, just because a lot of people will have that religious aspect and that leads to religious freedoms and then
they
all
get
that back and forth.
distracted by that before they think about the men's
Wait, oh my
issues.
god, I just thought of something horrible because I was just chatting with my sister. Schmecko, you say you're unsnipped, correct?
Correct.
One of these days, you have to, just for the sake of a joke, take like a little bit of paint and then just like paint your dick to look like a sandworm from fucking Beetlejuice.
God
and then come at your wife with it.
Lex has a very important question. Samaj, did you just come?
No.
Okay.
He does the moaning thing anytime you get a chat.
A super chat. Apparently, Schmeckel has made that my job, mostly because I'm so busy making thumbnails, and I don't really contribute all that much at times. This is my best way of contributing.
You're contributing really well this stream. I'm just gonna say though.
Yeah.
No, it was a good business plan. It was one I made very drunk, but super chats have gone way up since you started moaning for them.
Oh yeah.
Apparently.
I can't wait until Kadunton Lo-Fi's show because I'm gonna make them do it.
Oh, that'll
gonna be way more profitable.
You can ask Brock, because I'm really good at faking it.
There goes a nut shot to my ego again. It's yay.
You had one to begin with?
Thank you.
I don't think I have one anymore. I think I had one at one point, but then it just got kicked in the balls too often.
You have balls?
Oh, but we are no longer friends. I hate you. I hate your guts. Stupid Mexican bitch.
So wait, we're talking about dicks, baby dicks, and tradition and shit
But
like
yeah,
that.
it-
Like what I wanna say real quick, and then I'll let you go, Opal. I apologize, but
Mhm.
the people who constantly defend, like, no, they have the right to religious freedom and to their religious traditions, blah blah blah. They're probably the same motherfuckers who go and try and kick down a Confederate statue and who make the Confederate flag illegal.
Holy Christ, Mr. LM002 for $20. You are being very generous tonight. I'm not cut. I'm glad. My mother says when my older brother got cut, he screamed for 2 days straight. Also, botched circumcisions are a thing. Better to have a foreskin than risk having a permanent
permanently-
disabled cock. That.
Oh, that's a terrible thing to moan to, but yeah,
Yeah.
Disturbing.
it is
I-
slightly disturbing, but it's my job. So
I don't know how I feel about that.
I actually had a buddy in high school who had a botched circumcision. He had it a little later in life than most people. He was a toddler. I don't know how they fucked up, but now he's got a crooked dick and patches that don't get hard.
How that could be botched up is basically they did not cut it the way they should have.
Yeah, they fucked up pretty fucking bad.
Well,
Probably
also,
cut too deep.
could be.
That
Well,
too.
if you really want, like, convince someone to not circumcise their kid, just play them a video of a kid getting circumcised. There's a couple of them on YouTube. They are the most disturbing thing you will ever see.
No, I'm not gonna
I'd
look
rather
at
not watch that.
videos of kids getting circumcised so much.
Look,
Yeah.
it's bad. Also, $2.
FBI van is waiting outside for you, by the way.
No.
$2 super chat. American Phoenix for $2. Opal and Cadet moan. I need a new ringtone.
Oh.
Well, Kadunk could do that. I think Opal is gonna not.
No, Opal should.
American
So
Phoenix, Kadunt will do it, but you're gonna need to pay a lot more than that. She's worth more than Samaj. And Opal is not gonna do that because none of us wants to get arrested.
There's that, and she's not contractually obligated to do anything like that, like Samaj or myself are. So, she could just fucking stay quiet. All she damn well pleases.
Yeah, Kadunt's on the fucking payroll now. She's obligated too.
well, I'm not. I haven't started yet. So, but I'll still do it. I don't fucking care because it's fun.
She does love to do things like that. It's.
She loves to fake it. Oh.
I wasn't gonna say the fake it part. She likes to fucking tease the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Evil bitch.
Well, it's kind of nice. She teases you, then you guys fuck, which is just a big tease for her. She fakes it away.
Son of a bitch.
That was beautiful.
So I'm going to slightly, wing this back here to the Dankula thing. So a thought just occurred to me. Ian, what's your thoughts on what's the worst case scenario and the best case scenario moving forward? Like, what do you think could happen to him?
The best case scenario is, the people in power, the people in charge, the people who make the laws, they review the merits of the law itself and see how it's being used to essentially silence comedians. Not only that, I mean, it's a bad law to begin with, and you can thank Blair for this, right? The Labour Party. But that's the best case scenario. The most likely scenario is that he will probably face a couple of months of prison. And it's unacceptable. It's terrible.
But when he says prison, does he mean prison or does he mean jail?
Probably jail.
Okay, at least that's a little better. He's not. Yeah. He's very unlikely to get his ass raped there.
Yeah.
Oh,
so the worst case scenario is that he gets sentenced to prison.
I am so fucking ridiculously happy that Magog's catchphrases are being done here in America because he can't be touched by
any bullshit over in the UK, because I love it when he jumps into a stream and just screams ass rape.
Comedy's still alive in America.
Let's see.
It's
Time
slowly starting
served,
to die.
probably some jail time if it's the worst case, is what Magog's saying. Best
Yes.
case, time served, and worst case, some jail time.
Yeah, best case time, sir. So what could happen is, right now he's being sentenced possibly to house arrest, right? That hasn't been determined yet. So he might face a house arrest for like a couple of months, and then when they actually do a proper sentence, they could say, well, we're sentencing you to 2 months jail, and that would be time served, or they will give him a suspended sentence and nothing will happen. That could be a thing that happens, and that's hopefully what happens, right? It's not the best case scenario. The best case scenario is them actually doing away with this law.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, as I stated earlier in the stream, the damage has been done. The damage for everything that has and will happen with this has already been done. Now,
It's just a precedent.
with the sentencing for Dankula, all it is now a personal sentencing. This is basically something that's going to affect him and him alone. Everything that is going to affect us has already happened because the Scottish fucking courts decided to do this.
Yes.
$2 American Phoenix. Any time served for speech is not acceptable.
Oh.
I agree.
Well, yeah, I mean, over there they don't exactly have freedom of speech. They have freedom of expression with limitations. But if these charges go through, which they have, it sets the precedent. This is another thing that is it's another limitation added, and it's something that's been defined as a new limitation. Yeah, from this point on, what Dankula did is hands down not allowed, and you don't know what in rank as similar. I mean, it could be fucking making jokes about feminists.
Yep.
Well, like
Yeah.
look at the Gregory Allen Elliott case. That was a fiasco unto itself, and it made Canada look terrible.
Yes.
Wait, was that in Canada?
That
Yes,
was
it
in
was in
Canada.
Canada.
And that
Oh, shit.
was when he was criticizing Seth Guthrie, yeah, he got, what was it, like 3 years banned from the internet?
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
they overthrew it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, and the damage had already been done there because he was Gregory there was an artist, and he does
Yes.
all this stuff digitally, or graphic designer and all that. So then the thing he's trained for, the thing he spent money on education for, he can't do because
Correct.
they banned him from the internet, and that
Yep.
was a terrible thing to have
Yeah.
on.
Indeed.
American Phoenix for $2 says freedom of speech only exists in America.
The true freedom of speech, yes.
We have we do have the right to freedom of speech here.
Not
but
anymore.
the-
Bill C-16.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're kind of fucking with it, but we do still have our like a defined right to freedom of speech.
Right.
You get places like the UK, and this shocked me. I thought most first world countries did have constitutional freedom of speech. You get places like the UK where it's freedom of expression with limitations. Australia only has implied freedom of speech. It really is starting to seem like America is the only place with a solidly defined, not tampered with freedom of speech.
Beauty of the First Amendment, and that is why Americans need to stand up for it more. When it comes under attack, they shouldn't say, "Well, it's hate speech. You get hate speech hurts people." No, shut up. Stop it. Stop it with nonsense.
I hate the argument bullshit with the fucking. Oh, well, we have a fucking wizard in the fucking in the live stream now.
Yeah, he didn't bother doing his thing because you already did it.
Ah! Oh fuck!
But God, you seem to have a curse on you.
Hello, Magog.
What the just happened?
Your beeper is
What
going
is
off.
going on?
It sounds to me like your insurance program just kicked in.
What is this, internet in Scotland?
Apparently.
I am so... God damn it. What's up, everybody?
Hi, Magog.
Bastard.
American Phoenix for $2 is go to the middle of Montreal and yell the N-word. And by N-word, I'm pretty sure he means nigger.
Oh, I thought he meant Nutella. Okay.
Or, well, what's that Canadian thing we have? Oh, the enamel bars. Yeah, you can always do that. That fattening pastry.
I wonder what'll happen if I yell necromancer. Oh wait, this faggot comes up.
You might summon him again. Oh wait, he's already here. So, what are your thoughts on the Dankula thing, Magog?
I think he's jerking off.
What do you think his thoughts are on the Dankula thing?
Yeah.
Sorry,
What
I was doing a thing. What?
He was jerking off. Hey.
we want to know what your opinions are on the whole Dankula thing.
I don't want to speak. It'll censor me.
We won't censor you. It's fine.
You people have a button or something. It's pissing me off.
There's some leeway. See, you can say the word piss. You're fine.
Well, yes, of course. You just can't combine that with other words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can say piss. That's entirely okay. It's completely illegal to say that people should piss on Jews. That is crossing limits.
Right.
I'm not saying that.
Hey, if
if you guys are watching Scotland Yard, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it would be wrong to say that.
Hey, Scotland Yard, you can't fucking touch me. I'm in America. Fuck you.
What me and Ben Shapiro do behind closed doors is between us. Okay, you can just leave that at the door.
Some Jews like golden showers. I mean, you can't just assume that because of their religion they don't have certain kinks. That is racist.
Of
American
course.
Phoenix, $2. Canada sucks worse than High School Musical.
Oh.
What the hell was that?
That was the $2 moment, Magog.
Yeah.
What the just happened?
You need a shorter beep.
Ah!
Find a shorter beep, Magog.
Jesus Christ. Now, that's it. You can talk to my human avatar. I'm God. This is stupid.
No, Magog, summon failure.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hey, Phil, how you doing? You liking them tendies? You liking that shirt?
Tendies. Yeah, tendies and gummy bears.
It's good to hear you're finally awake.
Oh, yeah, I slept for a long time.
Fucking alarm clock created a goddamn cult. How do you feel about that, you little shit?
Alarm no state.
I was just warning people of the next Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh.
For anybody who doesn't get it, it's my dick. Because I'm Cuban.
Even do the laugh. That's amazing. That's amazing.
How y'all doing today?
Good. Well, not really good. Not particularly great considering what's happening to Dankula.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. I can't. I literally got sick yesterday, so I can't do the voice and shit for long. It hurts. So
It's okay. Thank you so much, though.
yeah, I'm still kind of all crappy and fucking nose is running. It's goddamn hay fever. Fucking pollen count here is already fucking crazy high.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Baracus, there's a request from Thrax to bring back Brock Cosby.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's what I did on fucking Proper Villains earlier today.
Oh, the Cosbys. Yes. Well, maybe later. We'll see on that.
Must have missed that. But anyway, if you yeah, this whole situation is fucking shite. And I know there's like a lot of talk about it, like setting a precedent and stuff, but I honestly don't know if it will. To be honest with you,
That's the hope, anyway.
that is something. No,
No, the precedent's already been set.
Yeah, we
9
don't.
people go to jail every single day in the UK because of
Yeah,
stuff
but like
this.
I'm saying too, like every country's different. Like obviously it's a precedent for them, but here in America,
For them, yes. Not in America, no.
Here in America, they've got a fight on their hands. Like
Yes, they
that's
do.
some First Amendment shit right there. And
Yep.
boy,
Yeah, it's what we were just saying. You guys seem to do pretty well with freedom of speech.
right. Well, I don't. I obviously know too because I have friends, but you fucking knuckleheads has got it tough too.
There was a law in Chicago. It was an Illinois law. It was passed, and it was essentially just the exact same, almost the exact same as the 2003 Communications Act in the UK. And essentially, it was shut down because it was unconstitutional. That happened earlier this year.
Yeah. Now, like obviously, there's things to be said. I was really hoping I'd get over my sickness so I can do like a full length video because I haven't done content in a while. I've been so busy with school, and then I got fucking sick on spring break. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
But I at least was able to sit down tonight and get into costume and character and do a quick little 40-second skit for a big collab that Roy over there at Very Nearly Viral is putting together.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least I get to say a little something about it. And I'll probably mirror that on my channel for my fans and stuff. And
what a piece of shit, Roy. I thought we were friends. I thought we were friends, and I don't even receive the invite. I mean, I probably would have told you I would do it and then never send you the clip.
Well,
that's probably why.
Yeah, he couldn't think of like everybody, so he told us to invite people that we thought might like to join. So
well, tell Roy I'll 100% do it.
Well, if you want an invite to the group, I'll do it.
Yeah, sure. If it's about the Dankula thing, I do have a lot of things to say.
Yeah.
You should say it at Schmeckelsall, though.
Well, it has to be pretty short because he's collabing things together, So.
Oh yeah. When I say a lot of things, I mean, like 30 seconds of things.
Yeah.
Well, if he needs a very pissed off orc to just scream into a mic for like 5 seconds, he knows where to get a hold of me.
American Phoenix for $5. Magog, just be yourself. You don't have to do characters. We love you for who you are as a person. Come out of your cocoon like a beautiful butterfly.
Oh.
I swear to God, you keep doing that, I'm gonna fucking.
See, I actually can't stand Magog or the guy that plays him. I just
Schmeckel, I really wish you'd stop interrupting. Because I was getting an awkward boner. And you fucking kill it with every fucking word you spout out of your fucking.
The return of the Y boner.
Yeah, like yeah. I just hope failure shoves some tendies up your asshole. That's all, Michael.
Hey, Failure and I are working on our relationship. We're not quite at the tendy point, but we're working our way there. It's not
yeah, right. All right, Schmeckle, whatever.
Come on, Failure, you know you love me, baby.
Just bring out some honey mustard for lube. But yeah, no, this whole Count Dankula thing is
I mean, what else needs to be said, to be honest? I mean, I know that everybody's been talking about it all day and stuff, but what really, really worries me is not even the precedent that it sets in the UK, because we kind of all knew this was coming. But what really worries me is what would happen when it is successfully implemented in one country. What other countries are going to be like, hey, it's working there?
Brockus, explain your view on it. Brockus was going along the same lines.
Magog, you remember last year there was that story about how the UK
Yeah, I totally got that. All of it. Yeah.
It was an eloquent explanation.
Yeah. Thanks, Brockus, for fucking explaining that for me.
You're
Basically,
so brilliant.
Brockus figures that the UK will do this. They'll pressure Canada into following, and then use Canada to pressure the states into following.
They're
Yeah,
not going to pressure Canada. Canada's going to do it on its own, just like every European Union country is going to do it on its own. It's something they will see how other countries are controlling their population, and they will do it because they see that as effective. Look at what's happening in China right now. They're implementing something called social credit. And so what social credit is that it monitors everything that you do on the internet and in real life. So if you don't pay a debt, you have bad social credit. If you say something negative about the government, you have bad social credit. You make a YouTube video in which your pug is taught to sick Heil, that's bad social credit. And what that equates to, at least when it comes into effect in March 1st, is that you will not be able to travel and you won't be able to get certain jobs that require you to have positive social credit. It's kind of like the Black Mirror episode, and they're going to do that in China. I mean, it's already being done, right? And this is going to be picked up by European Union countries because they see that it is effective, much like they saw that China's Great Internet Firewall is effective. They implement that in other countries as well. So the social credit, it's only a matter of time before these governments either create their own systems based on that, or they hire Tencent to do it for them, just like Tencent did it in China. And if you don't know who Tencent is, they own everything in China, basically, on social media. They have their own version of Facebook, AIM, everything, right? And they also own a lot of video game companies, surprisingly, which a lot of people just don't realize or care about, such as League of Legends and Fortnite. They own those games, right? And nobody gives a shit. People just love giving them money. So this is the future that we're going to live in. We're going to live in a cyberpunk dystopia in which all of our activities are going to be monitored and controlled by governments, and there's nothing that anyone can ever do about it, unfortunately. Because you're all sheep.
Yeah.
Well,
American Phoenix for
just-
$2.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Says, LOL, Canada's going to pressure America. That's cute.
Yeah, America's
Hey, remember that time we burnt down your White House?
No. Like that's kind of where the Second Amendment comes in, is even if other countries try to more or less pressure our government into establishing such laws on us, America, the American citizens, or at least a good number of them, will fight the fuck back. Like, we won't allow that shit.
It's that America is a superpower. There's nothing that any other country in the world, even if they all were to band together, could make America to do. There's nothing at all. Like, the United Nations cannot force America to do anything, and that is the whole world. So no, I just don't see that happening. As long as people are depending on American money, American ingenuity, American technology, American innovation, and all these other great things, American industry, I should say. No, that's not going to happen. It might happen in 100 years when America is no longer a superpower. That could happen, but until then, no, that won't happen.
In case anybody's wondering, as a sidebar, I was not interrupting Brockus. He literally just cut off. So
No, yes. Yeah,
Brockus,
no.
if you can hear us, man, you're like gone, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, if you're continuing to try to speak, none of us can hear you.
No, I've been having some fucking technical issues with my internet service lately, so it probably did that.
Wait. Whoa, 1 second. Thrax Sable Skills. Oh, didn't we also kick Canada's ass in 1814? It was 1812, and if you look up that war, we kicked your asses.
Yeah, we weren't prepared for the 37 Mounties they sent our way.
Y'all only had 12 people. We had like 37. You never stood a chance.
Also, it's a really bad idea to kind of storm a country that's half frozen and has people that live in a half frozen tundra most of the time.
Yeah,
and
just
think,
ask the Nazis.
Yeah,
Our
you
troops
didn't
are
kick our
doing
ass.
fine.
Yeah, you didn't kick our ass. We showed up and was like, actually, we don't really want this place.
Yeah, you know what? We'll go south.
Now that we know what winter is like up here, you know what? Fuck it, they can have it.
Yeah, America should have taken it. America should have taken all of Canada.
We should have
Because
taken
Canada
Mexico,
is
too.
fucked into oil, fucked into rare metals.
We should have taken Mexico too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Our southern border. If we had taken Mexico, our southern border would be an 80-mile long canal. That's pretty easy to guard. That's pretty easy to fucking guard.
Mexico wouldn't be a shithole.
Yeah, that too.
Yes.
It might be a first world country.
Yeah,
American-
the politicians of the past were just a little too nice at certain times.
American Phoenix for $2. Please. I own more guns than the Canadian military.
Oh,
God damn
That's
it.
so disturbing.
It's even better now that Ian and fucking Magog have to sit here and listen to it because they're just like, God damn it. Why?
you have to blame Schmeckel for this. It's all his fault.
You know, I think there will be a swinging of the pendulum, so to speak, the other way, because I realize that the more these things get enforced in the internet, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, but eventually something's going to fucking give. It always does.
There will
What
be
I
a
think-
reckoning.
Yeah, what I think that will be, honestly, if it's not an actual physical uprising to protect our freedom of speech and stuff on the internet and in general, I think what that'll be, at least in the digital realm, is a creation of an all new internet, like another World Wide Web. And I know that, like, the guy who fucking invented Bitcoin is already working on that shit, Kim.com or whatever.
Yeah,
He's already
he's working
fucking
on it.
trying to build an all new like server farm for new internet that's supposed to be all free and all this and that. And eventually people are going to be able to like choose different browsers that connect them with different internets and stuff.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. And I think that these fucktards that are trying to gain control of everything are going to be really fucking surprised at how many people don't use their fucking products anymore.
Oh yes, yeah, that's
I
right.
don't get it. We had like millions of people using our services all the time, and now we've only got maybe 200. What the fuck happened, everyone?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that everything's kind of digitally segregating into like safe spaces for all the different people, but it's just the way it's going to be because right now we live in a culture that is perpetually offended.
I don't
That's
want a
good.
safe space. I want a Magog sitcom. That's what I want.
I'm working on it, man.
I know.
I actually finally settled on what I'm going to fucking do. And so another maybe 6 months, I should have my studio built. So,
Bitch, and I was talking to Beardy this morning a little bit about that, and he said that he is actually gonna he's planning on coming out here to do like face-to-face collabs with you and shit every once in a while. I'm like, that's awesome.
yeah, he's going to fly down for probably 2-3 months of the year and film and be a part of the sitcom and stuff. So
Yeah, I fucking love that idea. I fucking love Beardy.
but that's also if I'm still on fucking YouTube in 6 months. I mean, I'm putting all this money and work into something that I love doing. But with the way things are going, man, my channel might be next. Anybody's channel might be next on the chopping block.
We're not gonna let that happen, dude. Look at what happened with fucking Beardbarian. He was almost about to be gone for like 6 months and start from the ground up again.
Yeah, but his channel wasn't getting taken away. I mean, what is the alternate platforms here besides like what BitChute, Minds?
I think that a lot of people are forgetting that you can also just make a website and house it all on there.
How are you
Yeah,
going to
but
host your videos? How are you going to host your videos, though?
Well, what you're going to do is you'll put them on there, and YouTube might take them off. The easiest thing would be to make an ad.
Actually, Worski is currently working on exactly that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'm just like treat YouTube like an advertisement. Maybe do a little short, like YouTube-friendly skits, and then say, "Hey, you want to see a full episode? Go here."
Yeah, that's essentially what I'm going to do. I mean, for the sitcom, it's going to have its own website. And, if you pay for the server space, you can do video hosting and stuff like that. I mean, even some of these like crappy sites that help you build a website like Wix and shit and Weebly, they fucking have video hosting now. You can upload on Weebly. I know for a fact you can upload up to 1 gig videos, as many as you want without having to increase your server space. As long as it stays under 1 gig, and with compression and stuff, you can pretty much do a shit ton of episodes, under 1 gig. So there are ways. I'm not saying I'm going to use one of those, but because the technology is so good and the bandwidth is widening and we're getting fiber optic laid all over the country and shit, man, you can host a video site. The problem is getting the audience to follow you there. That's the problem. So many people are just YouTube is the industry standard, you know.
Yeah, everyone's here. You've built yourself up here. Your whole audience came from here. It's hard to get. You're never gonna get all of them to follow you, and it's hard to get a sizable chunk.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good example being, by the way, $2 super chat. But a nice example of all this is Team 4-Star, the guys who did the Dragon Ball Z abridged. Almost every year, their channel gets taken down because someone flags them because it's copyright materials. Even though they're changing it and editing it and using all kinds of filters, they're changing it enough that it's okay. But people still flag it every single year. But if it wasn't for their website, I mean, there wouldn't be any Team 4-Star.
The problem isn't. And Samaj, I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting, but the problem is that nobody wants to go back to those days. That's the thing. We love YouTube. Like there was a time when that's what the internet was. Like if you wanted to put content up, you had to build your own shitty website and fucking promote it through fucking search engines and shit and hope that 1,000 people eventually came by in 5 years. Like nobody wants to go back to the days when like every single person starts a damn website and has to pay money out of pocket to host video and shit like that. Like fucking go back to the days.
Don't make it sound that bad. It wasn't that hard to get a following.
It wasn't, but the YouTube and social media made it a hell of a lot easier and more streamlined. We just don't like how the companies are fucking implementing these platforms. I really wish that a law would get passed in America, and I think other countries would follow suit. Maybe Ian would agree with me on this, where these platforms now have become such an integrated part of our lives. They're not just something we fucking use for fun.
Their services.
Yeah, that they get treated like utilities. The same thing happened with Ma Bell and and companies like that when they built telephones in the back in the old days. Like once America became connected by the telephone, those companies were no longer allowed to just hold a monopoly on this shit. Like the government came in and broke them apart, and that's how AT&T was able to rise up and all kinds of other telephone companies and shit. Well, and the same thing needs to happen to these social media sites.
And it's possible. Agree. It is possible because look, it used to be MySpace. It used to be MySpace, and then everybody integrated over into Facebook. So it's something that it'll be a while going, and it'll just take the right amount of pissing off people on YouTube for us to be able to just say, fuck it, let's just go over to this site. And the YouTubers who more or less leave and move over to this new site can post a YouTube video being like, we're moving over here because this bullshit and this
That's
bullshit.
not going to happen. That's
YouTube
isn't going to allow that to happen because YouTube and Google control the internet. Look, they banned Gab from the App Store. They banned Gab from Google Play, right? The Play Store. Yeah. You can't access these sites on your phone. That is how they control everything.
Well, you can, but you have to download it directly.
Yeah, right, yeah. You have to know what it is first. You have to hear about it through word of mouth.
Right.
And if all the media keeps saying that these guys are white nationalists, you're probably not going to want to go there. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
same with mines. Yeah,
it's a collaboration of these massive companies that are international and basically hold a monopoly of 90% of the internet, and working with mainstream media to make sure that any competition just gets completely slammed down. So what you're talking about is different than what I'm talking about, because MySpace ended because somebody came out with a better product.
Yep.
What I'm talking about is the actual government stepping in and going, okay, you're a fucking monopoly. No, stop. Okay, we're breaking you apart. You're becoming an actual utility, because people need the internet now. Like, it's a part of everybody's life. You got to have it to apply for jobs. You got to have it to fucking search for fucking anything. People use it more now for shopping than actually going to big box stores. It needs to become a utility. However, a lot of people fight against that because they think that it's going to go too far and net neutrality is going to become, obsolete, and somebody will be in control that we don't want to be in control. So it's a very, very, very difficult situation. I understand why people don't want to see the internet become an actual utility that is sanctioned and stuff by the government, but
it should be.
Yeah,
there is no alternative. There is no practical alternative. It has to be done if we want to preserve the First Amendment.
Right, at least
Yeah.
in this country. I don't know about around the world because the internet, unfortunately, isn't just a thing that one or two companies actually physically control. They have large footprints, like Google is like, their footprint is like 90% of the internet, right? But at the same time, the actual physical internet is literally like servers all over the world built by different companies that connect them. Like it's called the World Wide Web for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
So that's difficult in and of itself. I think that even if America did something like that and took control over the internet and stuff in our country, other countries like the UK and Europe would still follow suit into this whole like fucking censorship bullshit, you know?
Yes.
It'll be a very difficult situation. I mean, it's really not an easy thing to fix because it's a whole new monster and we've never had to tackle it before.
I'm watching that.
Yeah, this ain't like the telephone companies. This ain't like this ain't like the railroad. This isn't like the fucking big box chain stores that took over and killed mom and pop shops in the 90s and 80s and 90s, like Walmart and stuff. This is like a whole new monster, you know?
Yeah.
Like most of the world's information is on the web. That's fucking terrifying, you know, to think that one entity could be in control of that. That is pretty terrifying because they can literally force the direction of discourse in the entire world, not just in one country.
Welcome to Facebook, where they gather your information and then resell it. And when it's used for purposes that they don't like, they claim it's illegal.
Yeah, it's a very strange fucking thing, isn't it?
You've seen the recent news with Cambridge Analytica and Facebook. They're calling it a breach. It's not really a breach. It's not a breach at all. In fact, it is a part of their terms of service. That is why Facebook was invented, to gather people's information and then resell it. Facebook is, after all, a business. People keep forgetting that. They think it's free. It's not free.
Right.
They're selling your information to them.
Right. And that's another big thing too. Like if I wasn't a YouTuber, I would probably go back to some crap flip phone. I wouldn't use Google anymore. I wouldn't use YouTube. I'd get off of Facebook just in protest. But unfortunately, as now that this is my job, this is my living, this is how I make my money, I am forced to use these platforms until something better comes along.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's really kind of a trap between a rock and a hard place because I'm still like, I have all these big plans for my show and for my character and the world I'm trying to build. But at the same time, in the back of my mind is that creeping fear that I'm next, man, that I'm going to just wake up one morning and my channel's gone. All my audience is gone, you know, because I was just a wrong thinker.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen any day.
Fucking shame on you. Apparently, we got some super chats we got to get to.
Done. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I'm done. I got like boobs and stuff. Yeah, I'm on my period, guys. I do periods like every day.
Well, read the fucking super chats, faggot.
Yeah, don't bring it up and then blue ball us.
Kadun, can you bring up the super chats? Oh, we got Mr. LM002 for $2. Says my money is on Google becoming Skynet. That's a little
Self-aware.
That's a dream of mine. That'd be fun.
No, what the why do you always want the apocalypse stories to happen?
Why are you so scared of the zombie outbreak? It's just inevitable. We got American Phoenix.
Zombie outbreak is the least fucking likely the end of the world scenario.
It's never gonna happen. Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
We got
There's no
American
zombie
Phoenix for $2. Canada is the Canada of the world. So sad.
That's
You know what the
fucking-
problem is?
So
You know what
fucking sad.
the problem is the whole idea of a zombie outbreak. It's based in fiction, right? It's based in fiction, whereas
There's
the
some
idea-
reality to it, Ian.
no, there isn't. But the
Yes,
issue
there is.
with
There's a fungi.
The goddamn fungi are not proof that there's.
no,
Let me
yeah,
have my fucking dreams.
doesn't happen. So the problem with the
Fuck
real
off, Ian.
issue is with like AI taking over the world. That is a possibility because AI can become that smart. That is a possibility, right?
I
And
see.
I'm
See,
not
we
saying
talked about this
terrified
before.
of it, but you should be fucking careful about it.
That all depends on who you talk to. Like the problem
Hey,
with the problem with an actual artificial self-aware intelligence is that it's a contradiction.
Yeah.
Okay. Like given that you can't program human emotion.
Yep.
You can't program human emotion. You'd have to teach it human emotion.
The problem
it has to have the
isn't
right
that-
sensory inputs in order to feel human emotion.
Like, it's not going to be like Terminator, right? In the event of a robot apocalypse, it's going to be more like they start eating. Okay, so you have self-replicating robots. That's going to be a problem because they need resources, and in order to get resources, what they'll do is essentially eat plants, eat animals, eat anything. And now you can probably program it to say, hey, don't eat dolphins. But if it needs the resources to self-replicate, it might just go haywire and do something like that. Especially if you program a bug into it, which is inevitable, right? It's inevitable that it will have bugs. So when you have self-replicating technology that also destroys other things, all it has to do is go haywire and everything will be food to it. It's just a life form, right? It's a life form that self-replicates, just like human life is. We're self-destructive. It's annihilation.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's self-aware artificial intelligence.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not self-aware or anything. All it's doing is it's operating on a set of principles, right? A set of programming, just like we are. We think we're aware. We think we have agency. We don't. This is all it's all an illusion. We're just, imagining the world or whatever. But the truth is that we're on Earth to procreate. We're here to fuck and then die. That's it. That is all we are. We're biological organisms, and a machine that does that is just going to be a silicon-based life form. It's just not going to be a carbon-based life form, but it's the same thing. It's going to eat, it's going to turn a pot of dolphins into chum so that it can replicate, and that will be a beautiful thing and also a horrifying thing. And it's going to do the same thing to cities. Billions will die, and then that'll be it. That's yeah.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but Magali, you brought up the whole. You'd have to program in emotion, right? You'd have to.
Most psychologists think that if an AI was to become self-aware, the right sensory inputs would need to be implemented, and then you'd have to raise it from like a childhood state.
But does it need to be self-aware or possess emotion to become a significant threat?
Absolutely not. I was speaking simply to the Terminator analogy. Because was the whole thing with Skynet was it became self-aware and then decided it was the superior life form and that humans needed to be just wiped out. Like I was going off of that analogy. Now, if you take into consideration something more like iRobot, where the AI actually grows in such a way and in such a capacity of learning that it decides to redefine the three laws how it see fits. The laws that are there programmed hardcore to protect us. Because like the whole bad guy in that movie or book was that the AI was meant to protect us. It couldn't disobey the three laws. They were hardwired in. However, it came to interpret the three laws that the best way to protect humanity was to enslave it so that we didn't hurt each other anymore.
Yep.
And so like there's a lot of like psychological shit that goes on when you're talking about AI.
I'm not even talking something like that. That seems like it would still need some level of emotion or self-awareness.
Autonomy, yeah, autonomy.
Well,
I'm talking when we get to the point where we program something kind of like Ian was saying that's got a bug. We program something deadly to use in war
like
or something like that.
Right. It's because the self-driving car, the Uber that recently killed a person in Nevada or Arizona or something. Right. It's like that, except times a billion. That's all it is, right? It's cars that perhaps are not well programmed. It's like when a plane crashes because it malfunctions. Is it whose fault is it? It's
well, you're talking about like random code and stuff, and that is exactly why the idea of a self-aware AI is paradoxical. Because humans are imperfect. And since we would have to create it, we cannot create a perfect machine. No. And hence, the entire idea of an artificial intelligence that is self-aware and free-thinking and can absorb knowledge at a rate 100 times faster than of a human being is essentially a perfect being. and we can't create that. It's a paradox. Like we are imperfect beings, so how could we possibly create a perfect being? We don't even know what it actually means.
No, we don't need to create a perfect being. We just need to create something better than us.
Will we create something that destroys us? Sure, that's completely possible. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a completely, fucking, all-knowing fucking perfect machine.
No, not gonna happen.
Real quick,
Yeah.
we have 2 super chats. One from American Phoenix, $2. Mary Shelley.
Yeah, can I-
Zombies with Frankenstein? That's actually incorrect. And another one, American Phoenix, $5.
Can I read this one? Brock Cosby.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
I want Brockus to read it because
No. I want to read this one, Schmeckel. Shut up for a second. Done. I was wrong. You swallowed your man. You are a good woman. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Now go make him a sandwich. American Phoenix, I don't want to make a fucking fool out of you, but stop being fucking weird with Good Done. We're very protective over here.
Yeah, hey,
You knock your fucking shit off.
You know what, Sal, you're not.
I know
her
shit.
boss. You're not her fucking supervisor. We are not protective of Cadunt here. You do whatever the fuck you want. Say whatever you want.
You say whatever you want. I'm saying whatever I want right now. American
make me
Phoenix,
cry.
stop being fucking weird. There you go. Boo-hoo, go cry, wham wham.
I want to be able to hear her tears through her
I don't
mic.
give a shit. Making one of my best friends uncomfortable. Knock your shit off. All right, you guys continue your show about robots and dicks and Brock Cosby.
I don't even.
Well, I think what's most concerning about building a machine that's strictly based on logic parameters is that it has no emotion. Think about it. That's kind of scary. But what do you guys think is scarier? Something with emotion or something without emotion?
Something
with emotion, because you don't want it to get hurt feelings, do you?
Yeah, it's like it harkens back to a movie, The Sphere, with fucking Samuel L. Jackson, and they're under the ocean and they have they found the alien sphere. When they get contacted by the alien and the alien calls itself Jerry and it's all like, I'm happy. And everybody's like, well, at least it's a happy alien. And fucking Dustin Hoffman was like, no, that's a bad thing. And they're like, why? And he's like, what happens when Jerry gets mad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want a sentient AI.
Emotion at all,
I know, yeah. At least that way you can predict what it does. If all a machine is that it does its assigned programming, it self-replicates, and it's fucking deadly. It's destroying the world. But at least you know that's what it does. But it doesn't have a purpose. It doesn't have a motive. The instant you assign a motive to it, or the instant it has a motive, it develops one. It decides, you know what? I hate humans. I actually literally hate humans. It goes out of its way to kill people, right? Otherwise, it's just going to hunt and seek materials. It just sees people as materials, and that's fine. I mean, it's horrible, but it's better.
And I think when it does happen, if it's not a paradox and it actually does happen, Scotland will be first. It's going to decide to hate us because we're arresting people for making funny videos.
You know how people get killed by machines all the time, like by robots, like in industrial accidents, right? They get pulled into a wood chipper, things like that, right? That wood chipper does not have any emotions. It's usually you fucking up, or the machine goes haywire, right? Maybe it's got an arm and it grabs things, and maybe it swings too fast and it hits your head and you're dead, right? That's
Right.
usually what happens. I'd rather have that than, again, having something with a motive. It goes out of its way to kill people,
Right. Well, there's something weirdly weird that happens in programming too. Like it's kind of the basis of a lot of anime, especially Ghost in the Shell, where there's like random rebellious line of code that just like they can't take out of the programming because it would destroy the entire programming. They just write over it or hide it in the background, and it's running constantly. And so and mathematicians have found that these random generating logical algorithms actually start fucking doing stuff when they don't want them to. And it's just like, we got to fix this. So they got to patch it, and they got to do this, and they got to do that, and they have to underwrite the code and everything. And that's really fucking weird that actually happens.
It
Like,
happens.
It's pretty fucking weird.
So what I'm hearing is your argument is, do we want T101s or do we want Ultrons?
Yeah, that could very well be too. I mean, we don't also know what's out there. We could end up creating a logic-based machine that isn't based on silicon. Let that fuck with your head.
Data.
Well,
Jesus Christ, you
American
bastard.
Phoenix for $2 says Zell proved the danger of emotions in a machine.
Oh. Yep. The Samaj isn't here. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, there were two others.
That last one is an almost perfect imitation of Cadunt faking. She wasn't very good at it, but Brockus doesn't have a lot of
But
experience.
Brock is
easily
believing
fooled.
me. It doesn't matter.
The reason I bring up that little conundrum, though, is think about this. In Japan, they have successfully written digital data onto blood cells.
That's awesome.
That's not even like silicon-based or anything. They were like, oh, look what we can do. We can store data on actual carbon-based fucking materials and shit. They're making fucking crystals that can hold data. Like, we're going to end up looking like Krypton. Like, people are going to start using crystals instead of fucking discs and shit, you know?
I like the idea of using CRISPR to program a semi-autonomous being, not an autonomous being like a human, but a semi-autonomous being, a slave, if you will, right? Not a real person.
Say a CRISPR?
You know what CRISPR is? The genetic manipulation thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. You use that, okay, so the idea behind CRISPR is that you can manipulate genetics to do anything that you want. The problem is, we have the technology, we just don't know what the genes are to trigger these things. So if you wanted to, for instance, make a person glow, or in the case of stuff that they've actually worked on, they can make a glowing rat, right, by infusing DNA from a jellyfish into it, so that its blood cells will glow. And that's like kind of the extent of what they're doing with it right now. I mean, they're able to cure cancer using CRISPR. Things like that.
Ian, have you heard of the spider goat?
No, I've not. What the hell is that?
This is an actual thing. Okay, so the military,
Is it like Spider Pig?
the American military found out that spider web is so strong, its tensile strength is so strong that they could make body armor as thin as your clothing, but can stop a 357 Magnum round.
Right.
As long as you have padding, because it'll hurt like hell if you don't have padding, but it'll stop the penetration whatsoever. However, spiders collecting that amount of web, with 10,000 spiders, they were only able to make a 1 inch by 1 inch square, and it took like 2 years, right?
Yeah,
So in an attempt to create a creature that could lactate the amount of web to mass produce this webbing body armor, they genetically, and this was an actual article, and there was pictures and everything. They genetically altered with spider DNA a goat. Actually 12 goats, and 11 of them died. One of them lived for long enough to be like, kill me, But man, them fucking things were creepy looking. It was a goddamn spider goat. Its fucking eyes had like 7 pupils inside of it and shit.
Really? Wow. Well, I gotta see that.
Now, don't get me wrong. If it ends up being some fake conspiracy shit, I'll own up to that. But man, when I read that article, I was like, that sounds like the military, though. They would do some shit like that. They would do some shit like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Chimeras are cool. They are. And, I'd like to be a chimera, have the eyesight of an eagle, for example. Things like that.
We would actually have a world of real superhumans if we could learn how to hack the human genome in that way.
Like, we know how to. We know how to. We just don't know the right gene sequencing, because right now, I mean, previously, our understanding of genetics is very simplistic, right? We would assume that, so one gene controls all of this. One gene controls your eyesight. One gene controls... No, it's actually not like that. It's more like an interrelated, it's a very complex web of genes, right? And if you mess one up, you kind of get a deformed creature, right? It doesn't matter what you do. That doesn't work. So you have to actually alter a whole sequence of them, and each of them is tied to something else. So it's not as easy as it seems, right?
It's actual sequences of code. It's not just an individual genome. It's how they interact with each other and shit. That's how complex everything is. I mean, look at the human brain. Its ability to calculate, mass amounts of information, and it can fit it can fit in your fucking hand. It weighs 8 pounds.
I don't think I should have superpowers. I will abuse them immediately.
It is kind of like a computer program. Let's say you had the whole basic code for everything, right? But now you didn't have the tools to really access it. You only had a basic text editor, but you can view the raw code. You wouldn't know what to do, where to start, or anything, right? Let's just say you're ignorant of the language. So all you see is a whole bunch of lines, like C++ or whatever, and you're trying to figure out how to manipulate each of the objects. It's going to be incredibly difficult to do anything. If you were to alter one line of code, and because you don't realize it's an object-based thing, for example, if you were to alter just one line of code, you don't know where it's connected to, that program's not going to run. It's not going to run correctly, even if you think that you're altering the right thing. Maybe you're altering. Let's say you want the size of an icon to be larger, but that size of the icon is tied to a whole bunch of other things. But you're just going to fuck it up.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's the problem in gene sequencing.
Yeah, it's incredibly complex, but that's also why we build computers to help us sift through the massive amounts of data that is in like a living thing's genome and narrow it down. And that's where that's going to go. It's not going to be humans figuring out the code. It's going to be a supercomputer.
Yep, they use deep learning, so that way the computer tries to figure it out. The computer will try to run simulations of everything.
Now, what was the computers like Hans and something else? Like I can't remember their name, but there was computers and they had them like in a room and were asking them questions because they were like a deep think algorithm and 10 times smarter than Deep Blue, and Deep Blue's like a chess computer that can just like whip your ass, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a fucking it was Hans, and I remember one of them was named Hans and the other one was like a girl name, but Hans was straight up like when the scientists were like, what would you do if you were in control of the human race? And it was like, and Hans is like calculated for a few minutes, and then it was like, the human race is destructible and therefore must be destroyed. I was like, burn it with fire right now. Kill it. Kill it right. If that's its answer, fucking kill it.
Yeah.
Okay, thinking about it, I just realized if Magog, the necromancer, actually developed superpowers and like he could choose the superpowers, I'm pretty sure it would be cock manipulation. In essence, he could grow it to any size. He could turn it into a weapon. He could literally kill his foes by fucking their faces.
Or I could just cast a fireball and take the lazy way out. Sounds like too much work, Brockus.
Brockus isn't a very forward-thinking man.
I think if I could have any superpower, it would be to randomly give people brain freezes as though they drank a slushie too fast.
Never mind. I don't want to know why.
They never would not be entertained.
Right.
I would want the power of manifestation. I can manifest whatever the fuck I wanted. I know Zell had been talking about having the power of turning people's eyelids into mustard.
Man, I would just want to be able to transform and shit. Transform into the president, kill the president, become the president.
Hey Magog, I've been reading up on the goats, right?
Right.
They look completely normal.
Do they?
There are 30 of them now. Yeah, there are 30 of them now, and they're producing artificial silk. All of them. They're fine.
Well, that it was years ago when I read that article, so maybe their first ones were the ones that looked fucked up.
Nope, they looked fine. They have
Wow.
they have pictures of them. I think it's a lot of just people photoshopping, because it's kind of weird looking, right?
Probably,
it's kind of like spider goats. Yeah, they're like normal goats, except instead of producing milk, they produce artificial silk.
I get it, but when it turns into the thing, you know, okay,
Yeah,
fuck that,
Yeah.
fuck that. But, I mean, what Kadunt said, that's actually a fascinating superpower because it wouldn't be magic; it would actually be the rearrangement of matter. And if you actually had a power over that, you would be God.
Yeah, you would be.
You don't just manifest anything out of thin air, so it would have to have literally you're taking matter from one thing and making another,
Turning into another.
right?
Yeah,
And
like a
if you
3D
could do-
printer.
you could literally shit gold. Like you're
Yeah.
like, I took oxygen and added the right amount of protons and neutrons and electrons and made gold. Like you would literally be God.
It's like a 3D printer, except it processes any sort of matter that you throw into it. So you could throw anything, like a piece of shit, and it will break it down to oxygen.
I mean, everything is matter except for light. Like
Yeah.
photons. That's it.
Yeah. So
And
literally
thus we create-
anything.
Thus,
Yeah.
we create molecule
If I had that type of power, if I could just fucking rearrange matter, I would make everybody on the planet attractive. But I would make Samaj slightly more attractive than the rest.
That would be a balancing act there, wouldn't it?
I would totally be down for that fucking thumbnail. Samaj's love, Samaj's life.
Yes.
That glorious pic of him is just wonderful.
I would
I-
turn Brockus into an actual orc.
Oh, that won't take
Yeah,
much.
He can come and be on my show as an
Brockus-
actual orc.
Make Brockus the one unattractive man on the planet.
I don't know. Some women get very turned on by the ugly creatures. So,
Well, you know, if everyone else
There's a-
thought, they'd look
Yeah.
at you. And they'd
No,
be
no,
like,
there's a problem with your logic there. In a world where everyone is beautiful, the person that looks out of the ordinary, whether they're considered ugly or not, will still be.
Magog, I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
Brockus. Nobody's thinking he's the pretty one.
Maybe not right now, but in a world of perfection.
So
Did you guys ever watch Altered Carbon? That was such a good show.
Oh, yeah, it's-
In a world of perfection, people would think Brockus was some type of chimp.
I just want to talk before you talk about Altered Carbon. I'm reading about the milk thing, right? The silk. It's fascinating because spider silk is essentially protein, right?
Isn't that pretty?
It's
Right.
spider milk, right? It's spider milk. If you
Yeah.
want, you want to put it in very simple terms. So they took that idea and they put it. They said, hey, why don't we make a goat or something secrete the same sort of proteins that spiders do? And that is exactly what they did. So
Yep.
it's basically regular milk, right? But with like a recombinant DNA silk in it. So
Yeah,
it's got the
it's
spider protein in it.
A heavily bonded protein that makes it
Yep.
strong, you know.
And then all they do is weave it. Essentially, they just they
Yeah.
bombard it with radiation or whatever, and then they
Yeah.
turn it into something tangible. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, it's essentially the same way like silkworms produce. The silk it's a milk that comes out of them and creates their cocoons.
Yep.
You know,
Yep,
before they
that's
turn
right.
into an ugly moth. They go from an ugly caterpillar to an ugly moth, but they leave behind like fucking wonderful shit. Like their
Yeah.
little cocoons is just like amazing. I can make cloth out of this.
Yep.
Zell's in the chat and he says he keeps hearing about Altered Carbon.
Yeah, I brought that up. I just thought it was cool. Like, do you
Good
guys
show.
think we could get to a point in technology where we can move our consciousness from one body to the next and just keep living forever? That
No.
would be fucking interesting.
Yeah,
I
it would be,
think the
but
human
that's not
brain is
possible.
Too complex.
I think
Like-
the human mind is tied to the body that it's in.
No, I think, I disagree with that, Ian. I think maybe
So you
eventually.
think we have a soul?
No, I just mean eventually. I think brain transplants will be.
Oh, brain transplants. Yeah, definitely. I think that
I
is a
think
possibility.
you're tied to the brain you're in.
It's tied to the brain. Yeah. The problem with altered carbon is you're not tied to the brain. You're tied to something called like the synaptic
Stack.
cortex.
It's
Or,
a stack.
yeah, your stack, right?
Well, the
And
thing
they-
is, in order to explain that, they had to create a world where essentially they came across a fucking technology left behind by an ancient alien civilization that is long gone. Like, that was the only way they could actually make or the writer of the book, because it is based on a series of books. That's the only way he could logically make that fucking happen. Because
But,
even he knew
uh,
our technology is way the fuck away from it doing anything close to that.
even
couple
1,000 years from now, we wouldn't have that tech. Yeah.
A couple people in the chat have brought this up. Would you want to live forever?
Yes.
For me, there'd need to be a couple.
I'd want to move to another body at least once, just so when I wake up, my request would be they play "Who Wants to Live Forever" by Queen. Who wants to live forever?
I would need for my loved ones to be in the same situation, not something where I was the only one that lived forever. And I'd need to be non-aging from
Yeah,
some.
But I believe it was Mark Twain who said, hell is being locked in a room for eternity with your friends."
What
I
if
don't
it's
know.
a very big room? What if it's a very big room?
I don't know. I think that living forever, if it became possible to say transfer your consciousness into a new created carbon being, so to speak, only the rich people would be able to do that. Like, there's no way like the rest of us freaking like broke ass bitches here would even have the opportunity, because we wouldn't be able to afford it.
Well, that's essentially the society that they live in. Like, everybody gets a
Yes.
stack and everybody can be transferred, but not everybody can afford like the top of the line clone of
I
themselves.
know you have like a 6-year-old girl
Like-
being transplanted into a junkie's body.
Yeah, you know.
No,
and-
there are two basic scenarios with living forever. There's, you're the only one that lives forever. You're immortal, and everyone else is normal. And there's some scenario where it becomes just the human race becomes immortal, right?
Yeah,
then
but nothing is permanent though. See, immortal just means disease and aging death is beyond us. But
okay, well,
we can still get hit by an asteroid and everybody die. You know,
if we're talking, live forever, I assume we mean immortal and invincible.
No, that's not part of the altered carbon metaphor. Obviously, people can be real deathed. They actually have a crime called real death, which is when you when you destroy somebody's stack. And really wealthy people in that story are the ones that can afford to have their stack uploaded to a satellite every day, so that even if they're real deathed, they can be downloaded and they're only missing 24 hours of their memory, you know.
Zell is probably jerking off right now because he was telling me about this exact same show.
It's a really good show because it's like film noir as fuck too.
Well,
it's what Blade Runner would be if Blade Runner was a show and not a movie.
I certainly hope that the good reception of the development of that show will also carry over to their next show, which, if you're an anime fan, it happens to be Sword Art Online. It's apparently going to be the next Netflix series.
Yeah, I don't. I know they made a live action Full Metal Alchemist, but other than that, I don't pay too much attention to anime. I watch it now and again, but what I liked about Altered Carbon 2 is it's one of the few Netflix shows that did not give a fuck about like SJW bullshit.
Yeah.
They didn't pull their punches at all. Like, I watched Jessica Jones season 2 and I was like, this is fucking crap.
Terrible.
This is fucking garbage.
I unfortunately gave up on so many fucking comic book TV shows. Like all of the CW shows, I pretty much gave up on them. Gotham, gave up on it.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't even attempted to watch Krypton just because it's like their writers have been infiltrated and they're not even attempting to hide it anymore. It is so fucking pandering and SJW cringe all over the place. I can't fucking stand it.
You know,
look at the Hulu Runaways. God, that's a
that's a terrible show.
That's a bad
I did want to say
actual SJW characters in there. Yeah.
I did want to say some of the shows I don't mind, but I think that they're not set up for a 12-episode format. I mean, you look at something like Luke Cage or even
Iron Fist. That should be like 6 episodes. Yeah.
6 episodes, it would have been a pretty okay kind of show, but because they had to drag it up, it's like there's no way you can make that work. And so I don't really blame the show, but they too long. It's just too fucking long.
Yeah, but the problem with Jessica Jones season 2 is that like even you're wrong. Like the best parts of that show happen in the like final 3 episodes. Like that's when it actually finally gets good and interesting, and you have to struggle through the rest of it. Most of the Netflix shows, at least in the Marvel universe, go 10 to 12. Defenders was 10, I think, or no, it was 8.
It was 8.
Yeah, it was.
That
8.
was also a budgetary reason.
Right. But all the others go at least from 10 to 12, right? Well, it worked for Daredevil and it worked for Punisher. It didn't work for Luke Cage and Iron Fist because their stories sucked. So it really depends on the actual story and the character and the popularity of the character, I think.
Well, the other thing is that a lot of these characters depend on other characters. The Defenders have been around for a while, and Luke Cage would have a run with Iron Fist all the time. They do have this Heroes for Hire series that would happen, and you couldn't do that without having their own individual stories, and those stories are not very long. But
Right.
Unfortunately, you had to make it long because also Netflix likes to run on that 12-episode format.
Yeah, that's okay and everything, but all I'm saying is that I really enjoyed Altered Carbon, but I'm wondering where they're going to go with it, if they're even going to continue, because the books changed dramatically. Like the first book made into a show made a really good like film noir detective thing. But the second book, apparently, he goes off to another planet and joins like a war, and it becomes more of a fucking Starship Troopers action-packed thing. And I'm not really sure if that would be cool.
And the third one is extremely anti-religious. I'm not sure how well that would fly. I mean, they downplayed some of the anti-religious aspects of the first season.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Because he doesn't call them fucking graybeards or something. They're basically Muslims, right? The Muslims are opposed to the whole stack thing, and they're the bad guys in the books. They kill people, right? They kill people for having stacks. They're fanatics. In the third book, it starts with him massacring an entire mosque.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think that's going to go over well on Netflix.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They're like after him, but he kills all of them because they kill his he finds out that they're the ones who sent the enforcers to kill his his girlfriend back in the day. So Yeah, that's not going to go over well. So I don't think they're even going to follow the books. Like they might adopt some of the Falconer, Quelcris stuff. That can still be taken, but the stories themselves, I think they would have to be set in the same location as the first season.
Yeah, I
It's
think
just-
that the show creators, even though they based it off the first book, they should continue with the format and keep it like a film noir cyberpunk thing.
Yep.
Like, I think that would be the best idea for the show. But regardless of what they do in the future, if you have not watched Altered Carbon, fucking watch it. It was excellent.
It's kind of like Narcos, right? You know how Narcos, the first season, is actually based on real life events, right? The two DEA agents are like real people.
Pablo Escobar, yeah.
I think. Sorry, go for it.
Okay, and then the second season, they bring back the same characters. I mean, they're still dealing with Pablo, but in real life, those two guys are not there anymore, right? They had different agents deal with it. And then the third season came along, they still have the same actors. But again, those are actually different agents, and now they're bringing, Narcos to Mexico. Those guys had nothing to do in Mexico. Like the DEA, those two dudes who were in the show, they never went to Mexico, right? That's like that never happened. But they're considering bringing those actors back anyway, because hey, people like the characters, so it's going to have to be something like that.
I did want to say, like, you did say that they go to different worlds in the other Altered Carbon books. I think some of that, because we're so used to the idea of CG, that I think Netflix is trying something new, because they have another show coming out based on the Dark Crystal series.
Yeah.
And that's going to be done with Jim Henson and the Jim Henson Company. And if that show does well, I mean, chances are we'll see shows go in that direction, where they'll have characters in puppetry and all that to represent aliens or what else have you, which would be kind of cool. I actually really like the practical effects in a lot of the older movies. It's got a charm to it.
There's no aliens in the books,
Okay, I wasn't sure. You mentioned going
just
off
different worlds that
It's
humans
just different
have
worlds.
conquered.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot like Blade Runner in that respect. Like Blade Runner, there's off-world stuff too, but it's all humans. Like there are no other, like, besides your basic alien life forms. Obviously, if you're on another planet, you're gonna have animals and stuff that aren't of Earth. They have a different evolutionary line, but other than that, it's all humans as the dominant intelligent species.
I hope they do the same thing with Revelation Space if they ever turn that into a Netflix series, because that's ripe for Netflix, right?
Stephen Strange is asking me in the chat, what about a Spawn Netflix show? I would love if Spawn came to Netflix, but
I would
unfortunately
watch
it's not.
every fucking episode.
Yeah, I would too. I love the HBO animated series. I love the comic books growing up. I even collected all the fucking toys and shit when I was a kid. But it's not coming to Netflix. It's going to be a movie. What they're doing with the movie is really interesting, though. Todd McFarlane is part of the project. He's trying to redeem himself from the travesty that was the Spawn film. And even though I didn't even think it was that bad, but it was pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't terrible. But this new Spawn movie, Spawn is actually more the creature. Like they're making it as more of like a dark thriller. Like he's never even going to talk in the film. Like he's going to be the thing hunting people down and murdering them. Obviously, they're probably bad guys, but like it's going to be more like a creature feature, and that's interesting.
That wouldn't be too bad. I mean, Spawn does work fairly well in that kind of environment. But I think the other thing that makes people pretty nervous is that Todd McFarlane isn't just going to be involved; he's going to be directing. And he's directed a few music videos every now and then, but he's never done a movie before.
Right.
And I think he feels empowered by that because Deadpool was also done by a first-time director. Granted, Mark Miller, the guy who did Deadpool, he did direct other things, but they were animated movies. What's that?
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller. Yeah, he directed like animated movies. It was his first live action, so he has that over Todd McFarlane. But we'll see. I'll
watch it. But there's also, let's not forget that there is a TV show based in Spawn universe that's coming out that's being directed currently by Kevin Smith, and it's the Sam and Twitch characters, the two cops. And they're basically put on the case of solving like some really fucking weird supernatural crimes in the city of New York. And it is literally Sam and Twitch. It's called Sam and Twitch. So it is the Spawn universe. Who knows if Spawn's going to make a cameo in that? I don't know if they're going to try to do like a CW Supergirl thing and just have Superman come by now and again or what. I don't know. And given that Kevin Smith is directing it too, I'm not entirely confident it's going to be good, but we'll see.
I understand why you'd feel that way. I mean, he's been doing the Supergirl episodes and a couple of Flash ones, and he keeps talking feminist nonsense. If you ever watch any of his podcasts, he keeps talking about that, but that's when he's working for them. And everyone, if you've heard any of the rumors coming from the Supergirl team, super feminist. Everyone that's over there. So, and not to mention his wife's a feminist, his daughter's a feminist. I think he has to walk on eggshells when he talks about that kind of stuff. But the idea of him doing a Sam and Twitch actually makes me feel good because I miss the old Kevin Smith, the one who would swear every now and then, the one who didn't give a damn about your feelings. He'll say it to like producers at Warner Brothers, like, hey, yeah, the script for Superman fucking sucks. He would tell it to their faces. He'd tell them to multiple of their faces. I mean, I miss badass Kevin Smith.
Why the fuck is everyone a feminist these days?
Because you like to work.
The Hollywood bandwagon at the moment.
Yeah, they're everywhere in Hollywood, and if you don't toe that line, you don't get a job. That's essentially
it. You know, like they have brought other comic book characters to life on the small screen in television shows that I actually enjoy. But a lot of them that I actually end up enjoying get canceled because they don't conform to that. Like the first Constantine series. I love Constantine, my favorite comic book character outside of Spawn. And I fucking love Constantine. And when they did the show, I thought it was done very well. Got canceled after one season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, quick, if you guys don't mind me interjecting real quick, we have a €2 super chat from Annie Jaskalainen.
Jaskalainen.
I didn't want to say it.
I apologize.
I wanted to wait to see who would try to say that name.
Is he Finnish?
I don't get how that's hard for you.
Is he Finnish?
I get how it's hard for Samaj. I don't get how it's hard for regular people.
Is the guy Finnish? I mean, I'm just curious because I don't see his name. I just hear it. Is it Finnish?
Ani Jaskalainen. It's a chick. And I don't know. Are you Finnish, Annie?
But she says morning, everyone.
Well, good morning. It is very likely Finnish. Yes.
Sure.
And any name that ends with Lenin or Nen, yeah, it's Finnish.
She says, yeah, she's Finnish.
Okay.
Guessed it.
You know,
apologize.
to be back on topic, I
mispronouncing
saw
her
somebody
name.
in the chat bring this up. I actually would prefer it if Netflix could get the rights to Ghost Rider and add that to the Defenders because, like, Ghost Rider so belongs in that fucking world. The way they're doing those shows, all dark and gritty,
Like
except for
Punisher?
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to see Daredevil, Punisher, and Ghost Rider on screen together.
Yeah.
Now, because they brought Ghost Rider into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was a different Ghost Rider. Johnny Blaze barely made a cameo.
Oh, they brought in fucking Robbie Reyes.
Robbie Reyes.
Which
this gets me yelled at almost every fucking stream I bring it up, but I actually liked Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind Robbie.
I can't do it without the fucking motorcycle.
Yeah, I get it and everything, but he was a different Ghost Rider. I would have hated it if he had a motorcycle because it would have been a ripoff of Johnny. Like, I like that he was at least his own Ghost Rider. Like, he was his own, he had his own motivations and everything. And he was the best part of that series because after he disappeared midway through the fucking series, Trump got elected and their writers went all fucking, and they went into some computer generated world where fucking Hydra had won. And even the like dude that's a scientist even said, we're going to make our country great again. Like they were like parodying fucking Trump as if like Trump would be the head of Hydra or something. It was garbage, man.
I'll let you know this much. Because Disney is trying to make their own little streaming service, they're not going to make any more Netflix original Marvel series.
1 second. AW says there was the old Western dude with the horse. He was renamed the Phantom Rider because he wasn't the same thing as the Ghost Rider.
Right.
The
they use the old timey word for ghost.
There's a lot of TV shows that do allusions to Trump now, and they're very obviously anti-Trump, right? Like, look at the new Star Trek. Make the Empire great again. Like, it's bad enough that the Klingons say stuff like that. And you can look at the Klingons and you think, well, it doesn't really add up to the whole Trump thing, right? It doesn't really add up. But then they go to the fucking alternate universe, and it's dark and red and stuff, and they're like, hashtag MAGA over there.
Yeah.
They're all hashtag MAGA,
A
and
lot
then
of that's happening.
make
And
the
I
empire
wish-
great again.
What I do like about Marvel is even though they interject some of this SJW stuff, it happens in an alternate timeline where Trump is not like no real president ever existed. Like it's all fictional presidents, right? It's the Marvel universe. And so at least they didn't fill Jessica Jones with actual like Trump pictures in the background or he's on TV talking and stuff. At least they can stay away from that in some of the more fantasy-based shows that are on a wholly different timeline. But nothing is actually stopping them, and I'm predicting this, that one of these days we're going to see a president-like figure that isn't going to be Trump, but it's going to talk and look a whole lot like Trump. Like somebody's going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be the fucking Runaways. I don't know if it's going to be Daredevil. I don't know, but we're going to see it. We're going to see some guy in power with floofy fucking golden hair, you know, fucking up there like, hey, everybody, we're going to do this. You know, like we're going to see it eventually. I know it.
There was you know, the series Gotham. I like it. People think it's cheesy. I think it's cheesy. It is cheesy, kind of.
I fell out of it.
I really like it.
I like it, but
in one of the seasons, Penguin runs for office, right? And it's a very good season. It's a very, very good season because you explore Penguin as a character. But his motto, at least what they were promoting it, you know, it's not actually on the show. It's something like "Make Gotham safe again."
Right.
And it's like, okay, that's an obvious, you know,
it's an obvious jab, but it's not. Some of it,
none of it really adds up to Trump. Yeah.
Some of these shows, they have it in it, but they're very kind of undertones and you can ignore them. But some of them are so ham-fisted, you can't help but feel like you just got hit in the face with a fucking feminist brick, you know, a fucking brick carved in the shape of femme frequency or something. You know, like I some of them are that bad. Like there's some of them I can deal with. Like now and again, you just kind of cringe a little and then you move on. But some of them are just like, here's feminism in all its glory, and they spoon feed it to you.
Blacklist, the Blacklist, the latest season. Is tedious. They're talking about gender, the gender wage gap, and then like she has to be a Muslim, of course, you know, and it's. And then it ends up because she's not getting paid as much as the other guy. He ends up giving away part of his pay so that he can attain like the same pay as she does. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know,
and I had high hopes for Blacklist. It started out so good.
Yeah, I agree with that practice entirely, though. You know, Ian, I think you make more than me. Why don't we split it 50-50?
No, he's not doing that. He's not splitting it with her. He's just telling his boss to pay him less.
Well, he didn't even tell him, give her the difference between, make it so we're equal.
No, he just asked for less money.
Yeah, because he tried that at first. He tried that at first. He told his FBI boss, said, hey, pay me less and then we'll split the difference, give her a raise because she's asking for a raise. And the boss is like, no, I can't do that. So
it would still be fucking stupid if it was I make 90 grand a year and she makes 70. Give us both 80.
Even though she's only been an FBI agent and a profiler for 4 years or whatever, because she literally, like the beginning of Blacksmith, she had literally just graduated Quantico. Like, obviously, the other guy has been an FBI agent for longer.
That's not her. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Muslim.
You're talking about the other. Okay, my bad.
She's Muslim, but she works at Mossad, right? So she's not even really an FBI agent. It's more like she's like.
Oh, they're doing the fucking NCIS fucking Mossad crossover.
When they did that with Ziva, it was fantastic.
Yeah. NCIS is a better show, though.
It got old too. All these shows get old after they run for 15 fucking years.
They get old, I prefer NCIS because it has a sense of humor, right?
Yeah, and I like fucking like the characters in it. I mean, I stopped watching it after Tony left and everything, but
I didn't even make it that far.
And I think that what's her name that plays Abigail, fucking Abby, man, she's a fucking tool too. She's a fucking Hollywood tool as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are. A lot of actors, you have to set aside their politics and try to enjoy the movie or show or whatever. Like, I just recently watched the live action Beauty and the Beast because it was free on Netflix. I wasn't going to pay money because I absolutely hate Emma Watson.
Really?
Like, I hate her face. I fucking hate her face. All I see is Hermione. All I fucking see is that bitch Hermione standing in front of the UN doing her he for she campaign. That's all I see when I see her.
No, I look at that face. And I think if she still had hair, she'd be hot. Cut all that shit off, and it don't matter if she grows it back. At that point, I was done with her.
Right. Yeah. Like and yet the movie, besides its one little SJW undertone where it was like they're magically like black people that are nobles in France at that time, and there are magically fucking LeFou is like gay for Gaston.
Mhm.
Other than that, it stuck to the Beauty and the Beast.
And I don't see how a feminist would agree to sign on for the Beauty and the Beast. That is about a guy who kidnaps a woman. She gets Stockholm syndrome, and then they marry.
It is literally my
Right.
favorite
It
Disney
is about
movie.
Stockholm Syndrome.
But
Yeah.
I recognize that even though it's my favorite Disney movie, it is literally Stockholm Syndrome, the movie. But and I didn't much care for the live action. I mean, I thought it was faithful, but it was not something I'll go back and watch again. I thought it was kind of shit, but it was not as bad as I thought. And maybe it's because I had my hopes low. You know, maybe it was
Yeah.
kind of like Ghostbusters 2016. I had my hopes pretty fucking low. You know, like
I don't mind that it's a Stockholm Syndrome at all.
no, it's
I think-
actually a classic story.
It's a classic. And the idea isn't behind this. I mean, the whole point of the story isn't even about the kidnapping or the Stockholm Syndrome, if you want to call it that. It's more to do with how beauty is more than skin deep, right? It's like you can.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the underlying message that they meant to.
Yeah, and then feminists reinterpreted it and said, "Oh, this is Stockholm
Well,
Syndrome."
I
It's
don't
like-
think you need to be a feminist to realize that it's the chick who got kidnapped. Then
Well, I mean, people are reading too much into it. Like you can.
Sure. I mean,
It's just like the Little Mermaid. It's like people read too much into Little Mermaid, and now it's problematic or some shit.
no, that's
right?
a fucked
wait,
up story.
what's
It really is.
what's wrong with the Little Mermaid?
Oh my God, Hans Christian Andersen was a fucking psychopath.
Oh,
Like,
I'm familiar with the Disney.
like, have you ever read
Oh.
The Little Mermaid? Like, not
Yes,
the
I
Disney
have.
movie, the real book. Like
The real
that
book,
bitch,
yeah.
like cut her tongue out and gave it to the sea witch, and then even though she got her legs, she literally felt like she was walking on knives the entire time.
And
Like,
she
it was
still
just
died in
constant
the end
pain.
too.
Yeah, and then
She
she
did, yeah.
turned into fucking sea foam and
Yeah.
disappeared out of existence because mermaid people don't have souls.
Have you read the Sleeping Beauty, the original Sleeping Beauty?
That's a bit rapey.
No, a lot rapey.
No, it's not. It's actually not. It's not as graphic as people think.
No,
like,
it's not.
That's the Anne Rice Sleeping
Did
Beauty.
he-
Those are the graphic
I love
ones.
the
Did he or did
Yeah, that was a good
in
one.
the original impregnate her while she was asleep?
Yep.
Yes, but
Yeah.
that's as far as it went because
That's,
it, was
Yeah,
very-
that's
It's not described as
yeah.
a rape or
it
anything.
wasn't
Besides,
described that way because of the
it's the
time
only way
it
to
came
wake her
from.
up. It's the only way to
Right.
wake her up anyway. So it's
Right.
like, okay, would you rather just like rot forever, or
No, the
or
way
would
she
you just
woke
want to
up,
wake up?
Wait. From
the way
what
she
I
woke up
remember,
in the original,
From what
the twins.
he didn't know that was the way to wake her up. He just came across what looked like a dead chick and decided, hey, I'm gonna stick my dick in her.
Well, who hasn't?
I'm certain you can only use it was the only way to wake her up excuse if he knew that. Otherwise, he's just fucking some chick.
Well, it's a creepy
Would.
fucking story. It's a creepy
That,
fucking.
yeah, that's not the point. What I was saying is it wasn't graphic because of the
Yeah.
time it was written. It didn't
Right.
get all into this like he shoved his cock into
Yeah.
it, and all that
Yeah.
kind of language. Like it was a
Well, like
very,
he laid with her. Yes,
Yeah,
he laid
yeah.
with her.
yeah,
he
it was,
impregnated her with twins, and then the twins. She birthed the twins while still in this like comatose state, and then the twins crawled up to breastfeed, and that's when she woke up.
right.
Yep.
But all
Honestly-
those old stories, read Grimm Fairy's Tale.
Yeah, I
Read
like
the
these
Grimm
old
Brothers
stories.
fairy tales.
They're
They're-
not meant. Yeah, they're not meant to be sanitized. They're not meant to
No,
be
they-
nice
yeah.
stories. They're horrifying stories, and they're intended to be horrifying. They're intended to make you think, "Holy fuck, that's messed up." That's the whole beauty of it. Like, I mean, you don't watch a show like, say, I don't know, Altered Carbon. Since we were just talking about it, you don't look at it and you're like, "Oh, this is a fucked up story. We shouldn't show this to kids." No, come on.
Yeah, look
It's-
at Little
it's
Red
intended to be
Riding
fucked
Hood.
up.
Look
Yeah,
at
it's
Little
just a
Red
good
Riding
story.
Hood.
It's just a
That
good
fucking
story.
shit. The huntsman comes in. The wolf actually eats the grandma and Little Red Riding Hood. It's the fucking woodsman that comes in and chops the fucking wolf into pieces and lets the bodies out.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty fucked up. But those it came from a different time. They were strict moral stories. They were
Mhm.
meant
Like,
to
don't-
tell children, don't go in the fucking woods by yourself. Don't
Yep.
do this. Don't talk to strangers. Don't take fucking candy from
Yeah, but-
witches. You know?
Yeah.
Going back to Sleeping Beauty, what's the moral there?
The moral is don't fucking fall asleep in a place where you're never going to wake up. You get raped.
She fell asleep because her dad was an asshole. Then she got raped by some guy while she was passed out.
I think the moral of that story is no matter what fucking terrible shit happens to you, you could potentially wake up and have a good life.
Yeah.
I think
She
that's
does have a
really
good
the
life
moral.
afterwards. Yeah.
Like
does
she
have a good life
accepted what
afterwards.
happened to her, and she loved her children, and she lived happily ever after with the prince. I mean, that's
I
the way
thought
they end.
Sleeping Beauty ended with the kids getting cooked.
No.
No, I don't remember that.
No.
I think
then
I think
again,
you're thinking.
It's been a few years since I've read them.
I think you're
I think
thinking
you might
Hansel
be,
and Gretel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hansel and Gretel. They got fucking.
No. I'm thinking Rapunzel or something like that.
Yeah, they're all kind of like. Don't get me wrong. Disney's the whole purpose was to take those stories and make them for children and families. Don't get me wrong, but Disney often interjects their own fucking biases and shit. Like, I swear to God, like, how many Disney movies have we watched since the very first animated Disney movie, which was Snow White? How many of those have we watched that literally one or both of the parents of the main character are dead?
Most of them.
Yeah,
No,
it's like literally 90% of them. They're just like, your fucking parents are dead. You're an orphan.
They are intended to make you cry. It's like DreamWorks does the same thing nowadays. At DreamWorks and Pixar, there's a formula. They actually talked about it. One of the writers for I think DreamWorks said that, oh yeah, our movies all have a formula. You don't exactly know what it is, but the way that they do the world building, the character building, they make you invested in a character that's essentially downtrodden, essentially an underdog, and you make bad things happen to this character, and you also make good things happen.
Well, welcome to the formula of most fiction.
It is beautiful, but they do it in a masterful way. Like they have it down to a science. They have an actual lab that experiments with these things. They'll try to figure out, okay, what's the best way to make everybody get fucked up right now? Whole audience fucking bawling their fucking eyes out. Let's do it. You know, they research this. And this is the movies are. You know, everybody loves their shit. Like, look. Who didn't cry to Frozen? Who didn't cry to Toy Story? Man, like this stuff makes you fucking cry.
I have refused to let my kid watch Frozen, so I haven't seen it either.
You know what's fucked up? Frozen actually wasn't that bad. It's
It's a
the
good movie.
SJWs that turned it into their fucking.
It's not even any of that I give a fuck about. It's that the songs are fucking annoying, and I don't want my kid.
Now, don't get me wrong. Frozen is actually a fucking horrible story. It's literally meant to be like, you know what? You have all this fucking power, but fuck the world. Do what you want to do. You know, like let it fucking go. And that's why I did. Yeah, when I did my video of Magog against queer kid stuff, where they tried to prove that like Frozen was queer, I loved that video because I got to be Magog and say, Elsa's not gay. She's not saying let it go because it's like coming out of the closet. She is literally figuring out that she's a living god.
Yep.
Like she literally created sentient life from snow. Like, you know, like she created a talking snowman and a monster snowman to guard her ice palace. Like this bitch, if she had gone just a little further dark side, she could have conquered the world. The whole goddamn world would have been in a perpetual winter.
At the point where you can control the weather and create sentient life.
Right. You're essentially a god at that point.
Not even essentially. You are a god.
Yeah. I mean,
you may not be omnipotent, but you're what most cultures would call a god.
You're
like
a god with the
summons
small
lightning.
G, the little G.
Like Thor summons lightning out of his hands. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
like I saw it as a pretty different sister story than say Lilo and Stitch, because there's this one sister who is basically raised by the parents to fear the fact that you have these powers and we're not going to explain to you as to why, or we're not going to give any explanation as to how you have them. And then there's the normal little sister who was just like, hey, these powers are pretty cool. Oh shit, an accident happened, and now you have to be even more scared. And guess what? Fear is the bad thing in this whole thing. So, like, I don't know. I didn't hate the movie. I wound up hating the songs because it was fucking everywhere and nobody would stop. But the actual movie, then again, I only read into it. Like, I watched it with my baby sister.
I'm gonna cut you off. Two things. First, $5 from Mr. LM002. He says, my problem with animated Disney movies are all the musicals. Little Shop of Horrors is the only good musical.
Oh.
I can agree with that. I hate musicals. But the Bitching Witch says the original script for Frozen had Elsa being a villain. And it kind of raises the question, how many of us here? And
that's because...
Answer honestly. If you found yourself with fucking superpowers, how many of us here would not necessarily be heroes?
Hi.
Well, yeah, very few human beings would. Even if you try to do good, you'd end up doing some evil.
I'm not sure I'd even try.
Yeah,
I would do good for myself and my family.
Well, that's why I play out the character Magog. It's me playing with this idea that I'm my alternate personality is this all-powerful dark overlord conqueror. You know, like the whole point of it. It's a psychological thing, but I mean, ultimately, the reason why the original script of Frozen was like that was because it was based on the Ice Queen, which is yet another classic. And if you read that, that's a fucked up story. She was just literally like, if you come and solve, you know, the king was like, if you come and solve this riddle, you get to marry my fucking daughter. And then the guy came and he was like, he was the downtrodden thief on the streets, Aladdin type, and he figures out the riddle by going to see the Ice Queen and fucking her up.
With the mirror.
You know, in some versions of the story, and I may be thinking of a different but very similar story. The daughter helps him with the riddle.
Yes.
Like he's in love with her, she's in love with him type thing.
Yeah, I love at first sight thing.
I mean, it's shitty parenting, but I mean, it was all normal.
Well, talk about shitty parenting. Look at the Frozen movie itself. Like when they have the accident and they got to take like the younger daughter to get fixed because she got hit in the head with like, I don't know, glow fucking stick. Like they went to the fucking trolls, right? And the trolls were like, we'll erase her memories and hopefully if she has another accident, you know, like let's make sure that doesn't happen again because it might kill her. I'm like, didn't they? I mean, they're literally incredibly wealthy rulers of a kingdom.
Wait.
I would have gone for a second opinion. Why did they go for the little trolls and then just take that as gospel?
But the trolls, no, the thing is, they didn't even listen to the fucking trolls either. The trolls are like, love is the key. Like, fear will turn their powers into, you know, darkness or whatever. And they're like, all right, so we're going to make you scared of yourself because shit, look what you did, like kind of thing.
You are grounded until we die.
It's the whole thing part of Frozen?
Yeah.
Okay, it's an old like Chinese folktale or something. In that, you know, the daughter wanted the marriage to happen. She helped the guy, gave him hints.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that happened. That's an old archetype that goes all the way back to the story of Perseus and Andromeda.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Like that goes all the way back to ancient Greece. Like you're talking about Perseus, like Calibos was like enslaving Andromeda, and the only way anybody could marry her and get her out of like his clutches was to answer a riddle. And the riddle was impossible to know because it was Calibos who was like controlling the fucking fate of the riddle. He was the one telling her what riddle to say. And it was always some shit. Like it ended up being his own ring. Like that was the fucking answer to the riddle. And, you know, Perseus went out there with his fucking helmet of invisibility and cut Calibos's fucking hand off, you know, and then showed up, was like, I'm going to marry this bitch. She asked her riddle, and he's like, a ring. Here's the dude's hand with the ring still on it, you know, like, and then, of course, you know, like the mom was all like, she's more beautiful than, you know, fucking Aphrodite. And, they could release the Kraken, all that stuff happened. You know, the story of Perseus is the ultimate demigod story. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, that is a great story filled with all kinds of archetypes.
Yeah. I haven't finished it, but I know it's a great story. There was a little theory that Disney did confirm that the parents from Frozen are indeed Tarzan's parents as well.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
What?
The theory is that because what happened to Frozen, like the parents, is that they went off to sea on this trip of some sort, but then they never came home. Now the theory was
we're nowhere near the same time period.
Right.
Yeah, and they're not even in the same country. I mean, this is Denmark, and
Yeah.
Tarzan's British.
How the fuck did Disney confirm this?
No. The theory goes that when the parents were on the ship, their ship hit a storm, and the theory is that they got shipwrecked on Tarzan's island, like on that island.
Yeah, but
And that's
they live in fucking castle times, and they clearly live in like the start of the 1900s.
Right, like they had guns and shit in Tarzan. Plus, Tarzan's based on a wholly different story that is actually a very popular story, and the parents weren't shipwrecked. They were there exploring, like they had a house and everything.
Yeah,
like they lived there.
His name is like proper name is like Viscount Greystoke.
Yeah, he's literally Lord Greystoke.
Simone said that Disney confirmed this.
Yeah.
I know Disney confirmed that Rapunzel and the Tangled story and the Frozen story were happening within the same universe and same time period.
Like magic, there's like
that's huge.
I could see that time frame's very similar, and there's magic and there's all that stuff, but not Tarzan.
No, Tarzan's it was fucking published in like 1912. It's set in that era. You know, Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote it.
Yeah,
the guy's British. Yeah, his real name is John Clayton. John Clayton II.
Yeah.
Are you guys thinking of the movies though?
No, I'm talking about the actual
the fucking movies. If you look at the two, they are clearly in far separated time period.
It doesn't matter because the
Frozen
movies
is set in like the 1700s. Yeah, Frozen's like the 1700s. Yeah, it's got magic, but it's like the 1700s. They have ships. It's like the age of exploration at that point, right? The age of enlightenment. Yeah. They do have technology. They do have guns, but it's not like, they're not in the 1900s. No.
I put it in the side chat what he's talking about because I Googled it. I was trying to find a way to work in talking about movies for
They
little
just
girls.
made them look the same.
Oh, whose voice is that?
It's Adindra. Hi.
That is the very, very, very attractive Adindra.
Yes.
Oh,
that's
hello.
true. It's all true.
Well, do you mind if I interrupt you guys for a moment?
Go ahead.
Okay, don't shut the fuck up. Adindra just started speaking.
Okay, Adindra, will you read the super chat then?
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
Oh, well, wait. No, don't make him do work. He's a guest. Don't do that shit.
I'll do it. Super chat.
So,
I don't even like. I came in at the wrong time. You guys were talking about things that I know, and now we're talking about kids' movies, and I'm completely lost.
So, Mr. LM002, $10. As far of whether or not we would become a villain if we got superpowers, I think of a saying: cruel kings are replaced by kings who turn cruel. Though one man's hero is another man's villain.
Yeah, you're good at reading those.
Oh.
That should have been you.
That's fairly accurate. I mean, up until a point, kings who actually have power eventually become cruel.
You guys didn't even define superpower. You have to know what superpower it is first, don't you?
Also, one second.
I think in this world, almost any superpower will put you above the rest of humanity, though.
Trippy Poop says, "Damn, Schmeckel's seen Tarzan a lot." Yeah, it's a movie about fucking monkeys.
See, that doesn't say they but that right there, what's on the screen, they didn't say that they confirmed it. That says like 6 clever fan theories. Like that's
it's not.
Oh no,
No, but I put it in the side chat. The director confirms.
I was just googling images.
Oh, fuck
Let's
them.
see. All right.
I mean, I didn't
hold
fucking
on.
read it.
Side chat.
I don't give a shit about this.
All right. So
What a bunch of losers.
it's from the
That is
Elite
retarded.
Daily. Frozen director confirms the movie's connection to Tarzan. If you've watched as many Disney movies as I have, you've probably thought about the connection between the different films. Whether it's Aladdin's magic carpet making an appearance in Beauty and the Beast, or his lamp showing up in The Princess and the Frog, there are little clues that hint there is deeper underlying connection. Well, one specific fan theory about the relationship between Tarzan and Frozen has essentially been proven true. Tarzan is Elsa and Anna's younger brother.
That's
In
true.
Frozen, in Frozen, Anna and Elsa's parents are thought to be killed during an awful shipwreck at the beginning of the movie. The two sisters end up being orphans and taking over the castle. But how do we know the mother and father really died? What if the couple made it to land, built a treehouse, had a baby named him Tarzan? Well, Frozen's director Chris Buck basically confirmed the theory. He told MTV, I think Jen, his co-director, and I were talking. I think Jen and I were talking to a meeting, and I just started to tell her the entire story. I said, of course, Anna and Elsa's parents didn't die. Yet there was a shipwreck, but they were at sea a little bit longer than we think they were because the mother was pregnant and she gave birth on the boat to a little boy. They get shipwrecked, and somehow they really washed way far away from the Scandinavian waters, and they end up in the jungle. They end up building a treehouse, and a leopard kills them. So their baby boy is raised by gorillas.
Well, that could be anybody.
No, read the last line, the actual line that comes after that, and this is the part where he's basically bullshitting. Just read it.
This, I'm not finding it.
Oh, no, he says, and this is the last line, this is from the metro.co.uk.
Oh,
okay.
you're reading a different one.
Yeah, it's the actual article. It's the actual MTV interview, right? He
Yes,
says
thank you.
at the end, and this is the part where it basically saying it's all bullshit. So he says, so in my little head, Anna and Elsa's brother is Tarzan. It's just his headcanon. He's just messing around people.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
He's basically saying, yeah, I made some fucking jokes about this a while ago.
Yeah.
It's all just
Brother.
yeah, the Elite Daily article's garbage. Like this is
But
full
yeah.
of fucking morons.
Well,
So
the
you
first
read
thing
the
that
actual
came,
MTV
the
interview.
first thing that popped up when I googled it. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, you look up the actual MTV interview. He's just calling it his headcanon, and
It
headcanon can be
sounds
anything.
like when you read that alone, you don't even need the extra bit. That sounds like he's bullshitting.
Yeah,
Just
he's
that
just
whole
messing around.
description. Yeah.
But yeah, unless Elsa and Anna's fucking parents somehow have this magical ability to live for a couple hundred years, that would be physically fucking impossible.
Yeah, you should see the even though they're completely different movie companies that made the movies, you should see the fan art for Elsa and Jack Frost from the Guardians.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Them fucking people are fucking obsessed with them being together as a couple and shit.
This is why I fucking hate shippers. Some shippers are fine, it's cute, it's adorable, whatever. But there are always going to be those fucking lunatics out there that just like to just jump on shit that makes zero fucking sense. This is how we get shit like Legend of Korra.
I've only ever written one fan fiction in my life, and that was because it was requested by a girlfriend of mine to write it, and I ended up writing a short story where the Halliwell sisters from Charmed meet John Constantine. But I wrote it in such a way that John Constantine ends up fucking them bitches up.
People keep asking me to do a rock fan comic on YouTubers. I don't know, man.
I'll write it for you, Samaj.
Everyone get Opal in this stuff. Like with Opal involved, it's always going to be a bit rapey. I don't know.
Ian moaned as he leaned himself over the bed. He hadn't been touched yet, but he knew what was coming. The anticipation made a bead of sweat slip down his back into his ass crack.
That's pretty fucking gay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Magog whipped out his
Desist.
wand.
Desist. Please desist.
Yeah.
And Magog said in his normal Magog voice, ass rape.
Desist.
You can desist now.
That Liz was drawing fucking.
I will take you to Scotland court. Okay, like that is grossly offensive.
It is grossly offensive. Yeah, I'll turn into straight up Mike Pence and say, "Well, you're getting the chair."
Hashtag America.
Yeah, nobody tells Sheriff Derek O'Carroll.
Googling Frank Frazetta artwork, are we?
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I'm presented, so I'm like, I'll show some stuff I really like to look at.
Frank Frazetta was an excellent fantasy artist. Next to Boris Vallejo and
Wait a second.
Boris and Julie Bell are good too.
Is this the motherfucker that used to do all the Conan the Barbarian art back in the day?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my god, I love this guy.
Yeah, Frank Frazetta was the Conan fucking artist, man. He was pretty famous for it.
You want some really good models that you can have at home? Just just look up Frank Frazetta, and try to get like work inspired by him. Right? You can find some really good models. Yeah, they're expensive as fuck, but they're beautiful.
His
That
pen and
dude-
ink work was really good too.
He
Yeah.
knew how to take the human anatomy to a level of art that almost no other artist could actually fucking do. Like, look at the muscle definition on that very realistic body. It is so fucking amazing.
Christos Achilleos is another one, and Christos, he was the one who designed the very famous cover to the heavy metal movie with the girl riding on the back
Yeah.
of the weird
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and
That's
her
beautiful.
swords in the air. Yeah, that
Yep.
was Christos Achilleos.
That was my first nudie tune.
I'm not
Fritz
gonna
the
lie.
cat. Fritz
Yeah.
the cat.
Fritz the
you
Cat,
know-
that was after. Yeah.
Oh, Fritz the Cat was awesome. I
I mean, it wasn't after chronologically. I saw it after.
There was a couple of shots, oddly enough, in Guardians of the Galaxy that I could have sworn was inspired by Frank Frazetta. Because there was this one here at the start when Star-Lord, is going into that wrecked building of some sort, and he's got his helmet down. He comes in and he's literally walking like this in the hallway. I thought,
Yeah.
is this Frazetta?
That's.
I bet you could spot that.
Inspired by it. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you
It's-
could
it's
I-
all
spot that
inspired.
in a lot.
I will admit, I've looked at a lot of Frazetta stuff, so I mean, yeah, that's to be expected.
Look up my favorite digital artist, Dan Luvisi. He is fucking
Oh,
excellent.
Dan Luis is amazing. Yeah.
Dan Luvisi is one of my favorite digital artists of all time. He hand paints everything in Photoshop, and it's just
Yep.
fucking unreal the shit he does, man.
Lou.
Luv
SI.
Siluv.
Now, Bruni in the chat says, "Did you know that nutritionists hate Mike Pence? He knows one simple trick to turn fruits into vegetables."
Bum.
And then we got Dindro. A comment about Adindro, rather, from Blah Blah, saying that Adindro guy looks like a faggot ass cunt pussy bitch tit.
So, who
Uh,
is the digital artist who designed all the suits in Altered Carbon? Because they look fucking amazing, especially the Enforcers.
Yeah, that's some good shit.
Wise?
Yeah,
What's that Mickey Mouse? That's fucking.
Yeah, because
weird.
he
Altered
does
Carbon
really
is
twisted
amazing.
versions of like Disney and the
Yeah.
I've never seen these before.
Yeah, look at
Oh,
fucking,
really?
yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah,
Okay, Dan Levisi's awesome, dude. His
they're fucking great.
And his
I love
original
it.
story, LMS Kill Book, he's trying to make it into a movie. So that's gonna be
Very pissed off looking Tigger.
So Dindro, I gave your girlfriend a wrench for a couple minutes, and she just started deleting every message she could.
Did you not know that that's what she does? Don't ever give her a wrench. I keep telling people that.
Who
They
is
keep
it?
doing it.
Who did you give a wrench to?
Day is Dead did it like 3 times. They gave her a wrench. Blah blah is my girlfriend. She's a troll.
Oh. That is fucking awesome.
Nobody seems to get it because she's
I
just a
can't
pretty
see
little
that
blonde
as
girl.
being a troll. Like I just see
That was an immediate
power
mistake.
hungry.
Now I know who was filming you when
He's
you
a
were sitting
power
in that
hungry
fucking.
I love his Venom, man. His
That
fucking-
Oh, yeah.
Mr. LM002 has a super chat, $5. Samaj, I'm gonna need a really big moan for this one. He's given us a lot tonight.
Shall I moan too?
Yeah, you know what? You get one from an actual woman. In fact, Samaj won't even interrupt with his moan. Last super chat of the night. Samaj said, "Look up the artist." I can't pronounce that one. Zedzisla Beksinski. On
Zedzisław?
stream and maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Zed-
That's the guy who does he does the scythe art, right?
Yeah, he does that fucking freaky shit, dude.
Yeah, it's like that stuff is fucking amazing.
Yeah, he literally paints nightmares. Like it's fucking hell. Like I've looked up Beksinski before, and he is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
He's on some fucking Escher level of fucking shit.
His stuff reminds me of H.R. Giger. It's
A
very
little bit, yeah.
similar to it. Yeah, it's got that.
really
It's
surreal.
gothic. It's fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very surreal.
Was this dude on shrooms, cocaine, and fucking cough syrup at the same time? Jesus.
He was.
So, how did you pronounce that name?
Zdislaw Beksinski. Beksinski. Yeah, Beksinski. Yeah.
He was murdered. He was murdered by his 19-year-old roommate. He was stabbed to death.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to do my job real quick. After we finish on stream and show some of his art.
Was his fucking roommate high or some shit?
Yeah, he was a drug addict.
That really fucking sucks. Oh yeah, reportedly because he refused to lend a teenager any money. The guy needed drugs, I guess. So yeah. He murdered him, stabbed him to death. He was an old guy too. He died at age 75. He's
from Poland.
Yep.
And he's if I remember right, he's been an artist for a very long time and did some interesting work for like book covers and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I was going to say this is very much a book cover kind of art.
Yeah, this dude, if I remember right, the reason I know him is some of his artwork was used for the book, a limited release of Clive Barker's Weave World.
That seems appropriate. Yeah,
it seems very appropriate for Clive Barker.
Since you're an artist, have you seen the work of Jakub Rosalski, another Polish guy, or Jacob Rosalski? I mean, I don't know how to pronounce J in Polish. He's doing he's doing this video game called Iron Harvest, and I mean it's all based on his art. And what it has is like USSR style, art, like these paintings of scenes. So I had like say farm scenes in like the 1930s or something, but with giant mechs.
Yeah, I've seen that guy's work. It's awesome.
Yeah, more horror games that have artwork like this. Like horror games are like shit these days.
Yeah, he adds like giant mechs to like Eastern European like farm scenes and shit. You know? Like it's all very like behind the Iron Curtain type of fucking paintings.
Yeah. There are some Japanese artists who do stuff like this as well. Like, in their video games, like Valkyria Chronicles is like that, right? It's set in that sort of, early 20th century European setting, but it's got fucking mechs in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to do my job, guys, real quick, so I apologize for this.
There you go. You got one from each. The gays and the straights are all pleased. The boys, they got a fucking bonus.
But I tell you what, man, when it comes to Beksinski, anytime I need to actually glimpse a fucking visage of hell, I will literally Google that motherfucker. Like,
stuff is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds, some of his kind of reminds me of those like watercolor paintings that was in the Scary Stories books.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah, I actually just revisited it.
Like, I forget that art. They re-released Scary Stories, the books, volumes 1 through 3, but they changed the fucking artwork because of these fucking SJW.
God, they ruined fucking everything, man.
They were like, they're too scary for kids. I was like, bullshit. When I was a kid, I checked them fucking books out of the library every fucking
to be
week.
fair, even back then, my parents were like, "This is for fucking kids."
Right. There were some movies I used to watch when I was a kid that I was also told that I shouldn't watch because it was too scary. And I fucking ended up loving them. And that being the first one being Beetlejuice, and the second one was Ghostbusters. I loved both of them. They were kind of scary, but you know what? I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like 8 and I watched a fucking dinosaur eat a chick's pussy out. I mean,
oh man, somebody mentioned it in chat earlier. The scariest movie when I was a kid was a fucking Brave Little Toaster.
God.
There's shit in that little fucking movie that you don't expect.
Oh, American Phoenix for $2 says I can't can't let you have the last of the night. I'm guessing that's for ML, Mr. LM.
So who finished earlier when they heard Kadant go off? Because Samaj also finished me off.
Well, it looks like Trippy Poop says, damn it, LOL, I'm finished again. Damn, Pat's all stiggy. Damn pants all stiggy.
Yeah. Nah, I fucking watched Crypt Keeper when I was a kid too. Demon Knight is still my favorite fucking.
Oh, there's one Tales from the Crypt. There's one Tales from the Crypt episode that fucked me up. Even to this day, I think about it sometimes. It was the one where the guy dies, but it turns out that you can feel every single thing after you die. You just can't do anything about it.
Right.
And so they just had this inner monologue of the guy being tortured as they're like doing autopsies and shit. That fucked me up, and I still sometimes like will go back to that and be like, I hope that's not how it is, man.
That's some fucking I have no mouth, but I must scream.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of
that fucking Metallica song.
You know what I hate? I hate looking up like classical artists like say Francisco de Goya. I just looked that up, and there's a fucking YouTube video with like 200 views on it, and it's like he says a few facts about OG feminist and all around cool dude Francisco de Goya, and it's like so much
Goya, man. Goya was like one of the first like to really like capture wartime properly. But I remember him for his Black Sabbath paintings. Like after he spent some time in a mental institute, he fucking went to a farm in the middle of nowhere and painted this shit on walls inside the house. And it was like some dark fucking shit. Like fucking, what was it? Like a fucking, was it fucking dude eating his own son? One of the gods.
Saturn,
Saturn eating his own sons, or eating one of his sons and shit like that, man. The Black Sabbath paintings were fucking awesome.
I love the Black Sabbath paintings. Yeah, the Witch of Sabbath is amazing. Yeah, it's got a fucking demon there, the goat's head.
Yeah,
surrounded by all these people looking fucking.
He went to a dark place after the fucking Napoleon fucking came into Spain and conquered it.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that was fucking good. Goya's a good one, and so is like fucking.
Yes.
Yeah, so is fucking like Escher.
Yep.
Have you ever seen Escher?
Oh hell yeah, I've seen Escher.
Yeah, fucking Escher shit, man.
Stuff is trippy. Stuff is fucking trippy.
Ass fucking surrealism, man. Like his fucking flights of stairs doing like all the weird twisty bendy things and stuff.
Did you know that a video game that I forget what fucking video game did this, but they actually remade the Flights of Stairs map in like a and you were basically walking upside down. It was just really fucking trippy. I haven't seen anything like that since.
Right.
I miss it when games did that. Yeah. It was a multiplayer map. Yeah, it was a PvP map. You could just there's gravity all over the map. Essentially, it was like an inverse globe, right? That's what it was like.
Yeah, it's weird.
I can't think of it either though.
You should Google you should Google Hieronymus Bosch too if you want to see some. Look at his Garden of Earthly Delights, and you'll see some fucking surrealism, man.
No, this is a convenient comment from the chat because this topic's boring me. Trippy says, I remember that Tales from the Crypt. Have you guys seen the Tales from the Crypt where the main character is an artist and he has the power to bring his art to life?
That's a standard creepypasta. I probably get that jumbled up with like 15 different stories.
Dude, I remember. I think it was Oblivion. There was a side quest that was like that.
Yeah.
yeah. Those are. I remember one because I downloaded like all of the fucking Tales from the Crypt one time, all like seven seasons of it, and you would be so surprised how many like famous people got their start doing Tales from the Crypt. There was a fucking episode with Schwarzenegger in it. Like, like he was like the fucking Crypt Keeper was like pumping iron, and Schwarzenegger walking up off a screen. He's like, I'm going to pump you up.
I think Bo Bridges was the guy in the one I just referenced. And honestly, for some reason, it's the only episode I can remember. So I guess I have to go back and watch it.
Demon Knight was excellent. Like Billy Zane was a fucking awesome bad guy.
Oh, there was that movie with Dennis Miller that was terrible.
That was Bordello of Blood.
Bordello of Blood. That's right.
Yeah, that was Bordello of Blood. No, Demon Knight was the one with like Pete. What's her name? Fucking Will Smith's wife was in it.
Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett. Yeah,
or Pinkett.
She was in it. That's the one where like the demons couldn't get in because the dude had a key with Jesus's blood in it. And he drops it on the windowsills and the doorways, and it creates a force field that the demons can't cross. And so the demons are just like tormenting these fucking people at this hotel. Like, it was a fucking excellent movie, man.
Yeah, the hooker in that movie, when she fucking turns, just creeped me the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I had nightmares of that bitch.
They had some great effects, man. They had some great effects.
It's kind of ruined that feel that you got, back in the day.
Oh, another super chat real quick from Mr. LM. $10. Honestly, I'd love to live in the world
Zdislav.
That guy.
Zdislav Yeah, yes, that guy. His art is by far the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. He gives you the sight to see the beauty in the horrors of life.
Oh,
Fucking brutal.
Adding Samage's moan to that
He's a
was-
high-paid poet.
made it even creepier.
It is
I
really
hope so.
creepy.
Yeah.
Was I supposed to moan for that one?
No,
Or-
no.
Okay, I was.
So I could talk
Yeah.
like I could talk art and movies all night. So I think I better call it, guys.
I gotta call
Um,
it too. I have a lot of work. In
I
the
did
morning.
want to say, like the New York architect that was prevalent throughout the Ghostbusters movie. This is the reason why I want to go to New York because
There's a Tower of Babel.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, I love to check that out. But
That's
also, I
not
mean,
real.
no, I know it's not real, but I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, the Twin Towers used to be real at one point.
Yeah.
But
I like that they designed it after the Tower of Babel. You know, like the one drawn by what's his name? Fuck. What the you know his name, right?
I need a little more to go on. I've seen a lot of artwork in my time.
He did the Tower of Babel. Like there's an elder and then there's a younger Peter Bruegel. Yeah, Peter Bruegel did this one. It's his Tower of Babel.
Yeah, that building in New York is not there. It was destroyed in 1984 when the Ghostbusters sent a god back to its realm. So
Exactly.
you can't visit it anymore. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it got covered with marshmallow. Okay, got all.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't
look
take
up
that away from me.
Look up Peter Bruegel's the Elder. He's the dad. Look up his tower, the Great Tower of Babel. Look up the art and compare that to that tower in the movie.
I literally
it's
just
identical.
did. Yeah.
It's identical.
did?
Yeah. It's
Can you,
based on.
screen share?
Who me?
No, I didn't draw. You just looked at it, right?
No, hang on, shit.
I was really happy that they put both Ghostbusters movies on Netflix, the originals.
Yeah.
Because after watching the 2016 Ghostbusters, I needed a good solid dose of the classic.
Oh, the classic is so hard to try and tackle. I mean, even if we did,
I have a hard time watching movies that old.
well, even if they did get a competent, like, better creators behind it, I think they still have a steep hill to climb because that movie is so influential and so steeped in pop culture that
Here, I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
painting.
I mean I get what you're saying, Samaj, but it's essentially like trying to remake something like Back to the Future. Like you just can't fucking do it properly.
Oh, that's
you'll never capture that feeling ever again. Like
I think,
like I was saying, I have a hard time watching movies that old, but yeah, I enjoyed them when I was younger when I watched them the first time. Now that we're kind of spoiled with shit, you know, it's hard to watch the shitty effects and all that.
I think they stand up. You know, look at
Yeah,
go back and watch Poltergeist and tell me that doesn't stand up to today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
it's
no,
yeah, it's
even having a hard time going back and watching them. I don't think if they redid them, they'd do it right. I don't think it would be the same thing. I don't think it would be better.
You'd be different.
anything Cronenberg. You can still do that pretty easily and probably more effectively now. Just nobody does it.
yeah.
Oh, I would love to see a remake of Videodrome.
It is about the
Fuck
right
yeah.
person taking over the project. Like right now, they're working on the remake for The Crow, and I'm like, I was skeptical at first until I read that the actual artist and writer of The Crow graphic novel is helping on the film, and
Then
the
it can work.
director
Yeah.
and the director was friends with Brandon Lee, and he wants to do the movie Brandon originally wanted to do.
Yeah. As opposed to that shitty David Barina's version of The Crow, right? That's
That's
garbage.
Yeah.
That
But,
graphic novel
I
is
still
so
love
fucked up.
the Crow. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen, but it's
Yeah.
definitely like I'm not scared of it being remade. But then you get some Hollywood cunt that's all like, pay me to remake a movie because remakes are popular, and now they're remaking fucking Big Trouble in Little China with The Rock.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be remade.
Do that.
I like it when they get an auteur to work on something like Dune is being made into a movie, right? I'm not even gonna say it's a remake of the fucking David David, what's his face?
Well, David Lynch went way off book.
Yeah,
His movie's garbage. Yeah,
No, I like it though. I'm not
they're
going
having
to call it
Dennis
garbage.
Villeneuve. Yeah, Dennis Villeneuve is working on this one with Ryan Gosling, and it's going to be probably going to be as good as the Blade Runner movie, right?
I'm
It's his own
excited.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like the movie from the 80s has its own place in history because of just how visually interesting that fucking movie was.
Sure.
David, I
But
love
the-
David Lynch.
But the actual
Oh my God.
miniseries on sci-fi followed the book better.
Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up for a second so Adindro can leave with Chris.
Okay.
Have a good one, Adindro.
Nice.
Good night.
There was what's the name of the one that turned into a documentary because it never got made? That version of Dune. That was like visually it was stunning.
I don't remember that. I only watched the miniseries and then the one that came after it, which was Children of Dune.
No, I'm talking about Jodorowsky's Dune.
Oh,
Yeah, like he was adapting and he kind of he ran out of money, so
that will
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, that will happen.
Well,
Yeah,
that
It pissed me off that the year Prometheus came out, Guillermo del Toro was about to get a green light on In the Mountains of Madness. He was going to make
Mhm.
H.P. Lovecraft's Mountains of Madness. And the reason they didn't greenlight it is because they didn't want two sci-fi horror films coming out in the same year. And they had already greenlit Ridley Scott. And I was like, so instead of getting an awesome H.P. Lovecraft rendition, which hasn't been faithfully done ever, is a proper H.P. Lovecraft movie based on one of his books, nobody's ever even come close to actually doing a full story by H.P. Lovecraft, only inspiration, right?
right, yeah,
We got fucking Prometheus.
which is a terrible movie.
Which is a fucking awful movie.
I'm kind of sorry, what?
Wasn't the Maw of Madness one of Lovecraft's?
The Mountains
Yes.
of Madness, yes.
Mountains
No,
of
no.
Madness.
There was a movie from like the early 90s or late 80s. It was
Yeah.
called The Maw of Madness with a
No,
guy.
Mouth of Madness. In the Mouth of Madness which is an excellent film, but it's only loosely inspired
it's
by
loosely.
Lovecraft.
Just like
okay.
every horror TV show has episodes inspired by the
Well,
horror Innsmouth, right? It's
there
just,
are
yeah.
elements sprinkled in all throughout the horror genre, like Necronomicon and Evil Dead,
Yep.
and from the
the missions in Oblivion, some in Skyrim, some in Fallout 4. They're all inspired by Lovecraft, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I think the Shadow over something. I forget the
Innsmouth.
name of it. Yeah, Shadow over Innsmouth. Like that was like remade into like one of the best missions in Oblivion. You know?
Right. Yeah. Well, you gotta understand. Carpenter was a huge fan of Lovecraft, so he made 3 movies based in the Lovecraft universe. The first one was Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
The second one was The Thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the third was In the Mouth of Madness.
Yep.
And
And
those
there
were
was-
his anthology of Lovecraftian horror.
We have a quick super chat real quick. The €2 from Annie. I'm not gonna fuck that name up again.
Ani Jaskalainen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wake up, guys.
The Dunwich Borers mission in Fallout 4 is based on Shadow over Innsmouth, but instead of setting it in like a town, they set it in a mine, right? And these guys are basically end up sacrificing each other to some ancient fucking god underneath.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, a lot of people, and you have to expect that from Bethesda, that they're going to throw Lovecraftian imagery in all their games because
Because they own the
they
license.
literally, they literally are the only ones who ever made a game literally based in H.P. Lovecraft's story. They made the Shadow over Innsmouth video game. It was on GameCube, and it was on
called,
PlayStation 2.
Dark Corners of the Earth, Dark Corners of the
Dark
Earth.
Corners, and apparently there was supposed to be some sort of H.P. Lovecraft inspired actual like open world kind of sandbox game, but I can't remember if it's coming out or if it was being crowdfunded.
It's called Call of Cthulhu. It's coming out this year.
Call of Cthulhu, yeah,
that's a game I wouldn't mind giving a try.
I'll give you a shot because it's Lovecraft, but nobody has ever faithfully renditioned a Lovecraft story into a movie because he's also a really hard writer to turn into a movie.
Yeah.
Like he was all psychological. It was all fucking shit that you weren't even supposed to fucking imagine. Like that dude had a fucked up head. And I know everything about Lovecraft because I'm a huge fan, but
Wait.
Wait,
Even there's been some B movies like the Dunwich Horror has been done like 3 times on straight to DVD release crap films, but nobody's ever done it faithfully,
Yeah.
guys,
Red Metal in chat was saying, I think people killed the point of Cthulhu. You can never comprehend old gods, and people don't matter in the end.
That was the whole point of Cthulhu. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the whole point of this like just this fucking entities that live in the center of the universe that literally they're not necessarily evil. I mean, they are, but they are ambivalent to us. We are nothing to them.
Guys,
What
if we
were
keep talking about Cthulhu, we might accidentally summon Omegon. I'm just giving the warning now.
There is
The whole thing with Cthulhu is there are a few other writers who have done it well outside of Lovecraft.
yes. What's his name? The guy Jeff Vandermeer. He's really good.
I can't think of any of the names. That
Jeff Vandermeer and yeah, I follow all this stuff. Jeff Vandermeer's one. His book was recently made into the movie Annihilation. That's a really good movie. Another guy is fuck. What is his goddamn name? China Mieville. Yeah, he's a communist, but I love his fucking writing.
Nice.
No, a lot of people have taken the Cthulhu mythos and the world of Lovecraft and taken it to new places, but that's not what I'm talking about.
A lot more people have taken.
You want an actual
Lovecraft movie based on one of his short stories,
but not inspired by it. Yeah.
Like Guillermo del Toro is the only one who's come close, and they didn't let him make it.
There's a video game Conarium. It's very, very positive, positively reviewed. It's based after the At the Mountains of Madness. And I think the Cthulhu mythos is sort of like open source in a way, right? It's like
Lovecraft
you can use certain elements of it.
Yeah, Lovecraft was pretty open domain about his work. He actually didn't like anything he wrote.
No. I'm not saying nobody should have done it because of copyright or anything. I'm saying nobody. There are a handful that have done it well outside of him, but a lot of them have been terrible about it.
Not movie form is all I'm saying. Yeah.
There's
been good movies, but not based directly off. I
was talking books, but in movie form, there have been very few who have done it.
I think part of the reason for why there have been very few movies to actually do it is because when it comes to horror and movies, that's sort of shaky ground because a lot of companies like to make money. And doing something that's horror, that you cut your viewer base in half because you have teenagers and kids who can't go in and see it, and they probably like to go see these movies and whatnot. So then you can't get them. On top of all that, you can only if it's like magical or something like that, it won't be seen in China, which is the other demographic that makes a lot of money. So horror is not very profitable.
They lifted the ban.
Well, that's good. It could still take a while because also the amount of movies that actually get released in China are like few. I think they only allow 15 movies altogether.
I disagree though, personally, with Samaj because that Hollywood keeps throwing big time money behind like Ridley Scott and his sci-fi horrors, the Alien Covenant, the fucking Predator movies,
and they're absolute garbage.
Fucking Prometheus, and they're fucking garbage. And yet, but I think really what it is, it takes a very special and keen director to contemplate making a visual movie based on Lovecraft. Because Lovecraft was, if you've ever read like A Color Out of Space, like how the fuck do you make that into a movie? It's literally a color that we can't comprehend.
You're right. Yeah.
How do you make that into a film when it's something we can't comprehend?
J.J. Abrams might be able to do it, because he did sort of pull off a Lovecraftian story.
It'd just be a shit ton of lens flare.
You ever watch Cloverfield? Cloverfield was good, right? It was really good. Yeah, that was a very Lovecraftian story. Yeah.
A color the color movie there would easily be done. Just do black and white, but then again, how you sell that?
No.
Right. Yeah. I kind of get what you're saying, but I really see other horror movies like a lot of these modern, like The Conjuring and stuff. They make good money.
You see a lot of these horror movies, but some of them are also bought by like big time names.
Well, that's what I was talking about, man.
Yeah. Well, I know, but it's at that point it's name recognition. It's still a gamble because you're not going to get that many viewers, but they're banking on the name recognition, and unfortunately, that name recognition is also not putting butts in seats. And so that's also why you're seeing a huge decline in horror movies. But you are seeing an increase in horror TV series on the other hand, because they are currently developing Hellraiser, and oddly enough, it was just announced the Leprechaun is getting a TV series on
Oh
Sci-Fi.
wow. Yeah.
There's a lot of good horror TV shows. Like Penny Dreadful is a good example. Frankenstein
Yep.
Chronicles is another good one. Even though it has a terrible name, it's actually a really good show.
Ash
Um,
versus Evil Dead. That's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ash versus the Evil Dead. I love that shit. That's a great.
So horror is it's finally getting proper treatment on TV at least.
And that's the sad part. It has to go to TV to get recognition because the movies won't invest the money into making them, and that's the sad. That is just the sad bit. And some of it's own fault because there were a lot of really bad horror movies out there. And the other thing that I hope doesn't become a trend, but last Halloween there was like a Happy Death Day, which was almost like a horror romance. But it was, if you actually watch that movie, it was mostly a comedy, and that's not necessarily what I look for in a horror movie.
Yeah, you want actual horror. I think what isn't Ridley Scott working on the Dan Simmons adaptation for The Terror, and that's a very Lovecraftian type of story. Yeah, it's a very Lovecraftian story. So I don't know if you've read it. It's based on the expedition, right? The Northern Expedition for the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror, and they get basically stranded there and they turn to fucking cannibals.
Yeah.
There is another.
And there's also a monster.
Sorry to keep interrupting there, but I was going to say there was another movie that happened last summer, which does have me hopeful, and that was the It movie.
Oh yeah, It movie was amazing. Yeah.
And the funny thing is about that one, it's not really much of a horror movie. It's really not. I mean, but
I hated it.
Yeah,
you hated it? I fucking loved it.
And
it wasn't because of nostalgia. I found it really fucking creepy.
No, like I get why people liked it because it's like Samaj said, it's not really a horror movie. I mean, a lot of it was like coming of age stuff and everything, but I honestly didn't care for it. The hype around it maybe built up my hope, and then when I finally watched it, I was like, this is what everybody was raving about. I mean, it's not that big a fucking deal.
I found it to be more psychological horror than actual horror, because the story actually revolves around the characters, and it is just a manifestation. If you've ever read the book, it's just a manifestation of the town's collective sins. Yeah, it's a collective sins. Each of them is a fucked up person, and it manifests in the form of the clown, Pennywise the clown, right? Not It the clown, Pennywise the clown. He's not like a real thing. He's just a manifestation of the town's bigotry, the town's hatefulness, the town's fucking the rapey dad, for example. The rapey dad is more terrifying than the fucking clown itself.
Well, the clown is essentially some sort of old god. From like the Stephen King universe, which plays a factor.
Manifests. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a manifestation of humanity being shitty to itself. Yeah.
It's some sort of like spin-off. It's also a spin-off species of some other gods, and we see another character in the universe called the Crimson King. But that's neither here nor there. That's Steven Universe shit.
Yeah, but what I was getting to is like I mean I liked the clown. I liked what's his name's fucking performance.
Skarsgård,
yeah, he's one of the Skarsgård boys. But I didn't really. Outside of that, I was like, this is some. Maybe it's because I've watched so many horror movies throughout my life.
That's probably why.
Huge fan of horror movies. That I like, it's actually hard to impress me, and maybe that's
how the fuck is that family like so full of good actors? Bill Skarsgård and Alexander are like amazing. If you've ever watched Big Little Lies, Alexander plays he's like the rapey husband, and it's fucked up. And now whenever I watch him in a movie, I'm like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't fucking rape someone.
I didn't like seeing his penis in Nymphomaniac, but that's just...
he's such a great character actor that he brings to life the characters that he's in, and if he plays a rapist in one show and you see him in another show, you're like, oh my god, please don't be a rapist, and then it's like he's playing a completely different character, and you're like, oh yeah, he's such a good guy here.
All the Skarsgård are good actors,
They're amazing.
I did want to say, like, my feeling on the whole It movie is that I actually thought it was a good movie, but a subpar horror movie. But that might be a good thing, because if it gets people more comfortable with the idea of horror, then it could bring back other things. But
you want horror has to be like, I like The Conjuring. I don't like the sequel to it.
Yeah, I did want to say, though, like, the It movie was so, let's say it's kind of bland when it comes to horror. I think it's actually perfectly okay to show the kids. It's like teenagers and like preteens, because it's really not that bad. It really isn't. It's a good movie though.
What's the name of that one? Sorry, sorry to keep interrupting you. What was the name of that one horror movie where he's watching slides? Like it's like the dad is like a journalist and he's trying to investigate a murder, and he keeps watching like a video, and like the killer is in the video itself. Fuck, what's it called? It's made by the guy who made Doctor Strange. It's the same director.
Oh no, I
have no idea. You'd have to.
Looking it up. It was a really good movie. It stars Ethan Hawke.
I was like, it's not 8mm. That's for sure.
No. It's Sinister. Yeah, it's Sinister.
Oh, Sinister. That's right. Yeah, I've seen
Sinister. That was a really good movie. I felt it was a really good horror movie. It's really well done.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. There was this one that I thought was an interesting take on a possession story. The exorcism, but it was like a Jewish demon. And it had Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it as the dad.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh man, that was actually a really good movie. This girl buys a box at a garage sale, and it's like like Jewish writing on it. It's got like Hebrew on it, and she opens it up, and the fucking demon comes out.
I despised that movie. It was so fucking. I couldn't stop making jokes at "Beware the box ghost."
Right. It was actually really well done. I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man. He's a really good actor. I've seen him in a lot of movies, and of course, he was the dad in Supernatural in the first season or whatever. But he did a comic book movie that was one of my favorite comic books, and it was was it The Losers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good shit. I wish they'd make a movie out of 100 Bullets. That was a great comic book.
Oh fuck yeah, I love 100 Bullets. God damn, I wish they would.
Yeah,
I wish that one should be a Netflix series. That should be a Netflix
series.
Should be.
It should be a Netflix series. That and The Boys. Those two would be great. Fucking.
And DMZ. Why the fuck not? Take DMZ as well.
Mm-hmm. Fucking 100 Bullets was great. I read it every couple years. I'll go back and just read it because they literally did 100 issues.
Yes.
It was awesome.
And, we're gonna shut down in about 7 minutes. We've been going roughly twice as long as we usually do.
Sure.
This is what happens when I'm not in school. I actually get on streams and talk.
Hey, I don't fucking mind. You've been entertaining the crowd. Anybody got any last thoughts on the Count Dankula shit, though?
We are headed into a fucking shit state.
And yeah, if you want to at least slow down the shit state, speak up. Like don't just rant on Twitter. Actually, call your fucking local politicians up. Like, if you're in the UK, obviously. Otherwise, it's a fucking thing that you can do.
Do you think that maybe the best case to stop all this madness from happening is pray for a war?
No, it's gonna be worse.
I was like, that'll distract us. Won't focus past so many fucking stupid laws because we're too busy killing each other.
No, I think there are a couple important things that were covered tonight. As far as the precedent thing goes, Magog has a very good point. Doesn't apply to anybody currently here. It does mean some pretty bad things for people over there, especially anybody trying to make a career in comedy, or even in politics. There are now certain things that are. Precedent's been set. You can't say them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There were some definitely important things brought up about how this doesn't apply to America because America has a proper freedom of speech clause. They got that whole fucking First Amendment. They even made it the first one.
And the Second Amendment to back it up.
Yep, to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
That pesky First Amendment. Yeah, like
I'm not so fond of how you guys handle guns, but you guys handle freedom of speech better than any country in the world.
I can safely say I'm glad the SJWs did not rip off the Mundane Matt thing, because they could have.
What's the Mundane Matt thing?
turn off that pesky ad blocker. I'm so glad the SJWs aren't out there going, turn off that pesky First Amendment.
There is something that I think the SJWs should appropriate. It comes from Jordan.
A sense of humor.
Well, no, it comes from Jordan Peterson. Or at least it's a deviation of something he once said. I think that they should remember to always clean your cock. You got to remember to clean that cock. Whether you're circumcised, uncircumcised, but if you ain't snipped, pull that skin back, clean that cock.
I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone actually willingly has sex with SJW men. I think they're rapists. That's the only way they can get laid. Right.
That's pretty controversial thing to say there, buddy.
Yeah, that's
pretty true though. It's true. I mean, like women, women prefer guys who are not soy boys. Women prefer guys who are assertive, and SJW men are not.
I know most of the people that watch us are men. Women also prefer men who clean their dicks.
Yes.
Clean that fucking cock.
Please clean your dick. I don't need to taste that shit.
Clean that dick before you commit sexual assault on somebody.
When it comes to the Dankula thing, what Ian said holds pretty true. Just speak up.
Yep.
Speak the fuck up.
You clean it, but you don't necessarily have to shave it. My shit's like a thimble wearing a clown's wig.
No, you know what? Yeah, no, don't shave that shit. Like that disturbs the fuck out of me. Like really, really fucking bad when a guy has no hair down there. I'm just
this
like,
is kind of gay. This is kind of gay.
It's not even that it's gay. It's just like I'm not a pedophile. I don't need, I don't need a hairless dick. Like no, please don't do that.
Yeah. I'm quite proud of my lion's mane of pubic hair.
Roar.
Fucking anchor, man.
But please speak up. Don't let these fucking bullshit, fucking whatever the fuck this is, keep you from having your goddamn voice. Don't let fear keep you from fucking saying what you want to say and joking about what you want to joke about, because you can't take life so seriously, where you can't teach a pug to raise his paw by saying "Sieg Heil."
But at the same time, don't put yourself at risk. You got these fucking laws in place. Act smart.
Yes.
Protest against these fucking laws. Take steps against these laws. But if you want the ultimate advice, get the fuck out of that country.
Hey,
out of that set of countries.
Merca.
They are very quickly becoming shitholes equal to some of the other shitholes on the planet. I mean, Sweden is far gone, but England and Scotland are trying to catch up. These countries will not be functioning countries for much longer.
Putting the cunt in country.
We're talking decades.
Putting the cunt in country.
Mm-hmm.
Very well said.
Anyway, we're gonna shut this shit the fuck down. Samaj, tell us who the fuck was here.
Oh boy. Oh, let's see here. No.
It's
Here, I'll tell you.
It's just the people. Plus a Dendro.
And we had Opal for like a brief second.
Yeah.
Fuck Opal. Anyways, we got fucking Brockus. We got Kadunt. We very briefly had Zell, even though he wasn't invited.
He had to.
We've had Ian Miles Chung. We've had Magog. And since we've had Magog, I'd like to feel like Beardy was here in spirit.
We love you, Beardy.
Hashtag be the beard.
And then you got Samaj. You got me, Schmeckel. This has been a fucking cunt stream. Fucking free Dankula. Clean your cock. Definitely clean that fucking cock. If you take nothing from this stream about free speech and all that, at least remember, clean your fucking cock. Even if you just did a little bit of soap, pull that skin back. Don't pull that skin back if you got on a little bit of soap. It's
Get the idea.
it's not the cleanest area of the
down.
human body.
You can shut it down.
Clean your cock so I don't have to taste it.
Exactly. Clean that shit. We're fucking done.